Greetings and welcome to Channel Other Doc. I'm Jim. I use he, him pronouns, and this is the premiere of our campaign of Masks, set in the fictional city of Doctropolis. Our particular campaign, at least. Normally, I think it's set in a place called Halcyon City. Masks is a game by Brendan Conway, and it is powered by the apocalypse. We're going to go around and introduce everyone, say kind of who you are and who you're playing before I toss things over to Mole. I think we'll go ahead and actually before we'll go ahead and we'll do that. We'll go ahead and introduce everybody, and then I'll do a spiel, and then I'll toss things over to Mole. So let us start. Let's start with Kat. Hello.
I have to remember to unmute myself because I'm a professional, sort of. Hi, I'm Kat. I am a cleric of Cord. I will be playing the Nova playbook, and my character's name is going to be Meta Warp. I am really excited about this because I have got some interesting ideas going, and I think it's going to be a lot of fun. There's nothing at all suspicious about this. Not at all.
Nothing whatsoever.
It'll be fine.
And now let's head over to Pepper. Hello.
Hello. It has been a hot second since I've done a live stream. My life has changed quite drastically. I have moved house, as those of you who remember me from MASH can probably tell by my background. I am, as of today, 42 days on testosterone. My pronouns are they, them. As you can probably tell, I'm one of those people. I am playing the character of Puck, who's the delinquent of the group.
Awesome. And now let's head over to Wally. Hello.
Hello, my name is Wally, go with he, him pronouns. This is my second ever live stream that I've ever done, and very excited to get back into this. And this is my first live stream of this game system, like Powered by the Apocalypse. I played a bunch of Powered by the Apocalypse stuff before, but this is like first like non-D&D live stream, so I'm really excited for this. I will be playing from the playbook, The Protege, and my character's name is Phobos.
Oh, that's cool. I like that. And now let's move over to Thtrnerd. Hello.
Hi, I'm Thtrnerd. Apparently I didn't scare Jim for the one-shot when I decided to go ape or go gorilla on a bunch of people under the water. But I'm glad to be back. I'm glad to be playing Masks. I've been wanting to play more than just a one-shot of Masks for a very long time. I am playing Michaela, who you better not call Michaela and call Mika, Hutchinson, who is the Reformed. So she was a supervillain, and that's not, sure not to cause problems.
I'm playing a sort of a kind of a hacker type who is just sort of stumbling into the whole hero thing. I don't have the hero name completely nailed down yet. I've got some candidates, but his name is Skylar Hagen, and he's just sort of figuring out. He's realizing he's having to now step in because there are heroes that used to do things that are no longer around, and so that's kind of what he's trying to do. And also, before I give the spiel, let's say hello to our GM, Mole. Hello.
Hi, I'm Mole at Molthulu pretty much everywhere. I use whatever pronouns you feel like throwing at me. I'm ambivalent. Yes, I've run this once before, and this is the first time I've stepped into the GM's seat on stream for a campaign in 2 years. And I am more than excited. Well, equal parts excitement, anxiety. But yeah, but we're playing Powered by the Apocalypse, which means I'm just going to expect my players to just keep throwing things at me and, see what happens.
No worries.
For that.
Yeah, it's like riding a bicycle. You just aim downhill and hope for the best. So like we do with most games on this channel, just as a quick, before I hand things over to Mole, just as a reminder, we are going to be using the X card, the N card, and the O card. If we hit something that's crossing a line for one of us, any of us can type an X in the Zoom video chat or anywhere else, or make an X symbol, and we'll back up and we'll do something else. If something happens that we're okay having in the game, but we don't want a graphic description of it, we can type an N in the Zoom chat, and we'll fade to black on it, or we'll put it behind a veil. It'll be there, but we won't go into detail. Finally, if we're exploring a topic or an area of roleplay that's particularly intense for us, but we want to keep going anyway, we can put an O in the chat to let us know that we're okay and that we're good to keep piling on the drama. To accompany that, something else we can do is put an O with a question mark after it when we're moving into a difficult topic, or if we say or we do something and then think, maybe that might have been a little too much, then everyone else can respond to that again with an X, an N, or an O and let us know if we're still doing okay. And it is with much delight that I shall hand things over to our GM, Mole. Take it away.
Yes, welcome, readers. Aha, see what I did there? The idea with masks is the games master will generally describe things in the format as though you're reading through a comic. Because of the way my flow goes, I'll be going more with those interactive comics they messed around with for a while, where you had pans and zooms and slight animations and stuff. But that's just because of the way I tend to describe things. Because I've never been a huge comic book reader, but I love comic book stories. It's complicated. But yes, we're going to start off this session 0, basically getting to know and figuring out exactly who our heroes are. I have this document of all these things to go through. And basically, because I know some of you have played Master before, some of you haven't, and this, that, and the other, we're just going to get through, make sure everybody knows what's going on with their character and knows what they're like. So, if you go to the Magpie Games website, for those of you who are watching, you can download pretty much all the playbooks in PDF format, so you can take a look and see how marvelous it is. It is just top tier game. So we're just going to go through. So we've gotten hero names for a few people. I do want to get real names as well. So because basically I'm going to be tapping a lot of this information into my little thing, so my brain can conjugate on it for. Let me just. How do I do this? I want to rearrange the order I've got this in my little spreadsheet. Because it just so happens that if we go in the order of the playbook alphabetically, it works out really, really well. So I was just changing it. So I know you're still thinking on your hero name, Jim. Do we have a real name for Puck?
No, Puck is their name.
Puck. Okay. So not much of a secret identity going on.
Nope. They really don't care.
Okay. And what about Metal Warp?
Real name is Chris, Krys. And it's the closest pronunciation spelling of their name that they were given.
Okay, cool. Very, very cool. And what about Phobos?
Phobos' real name is Ezekiel Moore.
Ezekiel?
Yes.
Double O?
Moore. Moore.
Yeah. Cool. And you're still thinking on your hero name for the Reformed, yes?
No, I've decided I am gonna go with Black Raven, which actually was her supervillain name, and she hasn't gotten rid of it.
Cool.
So that may change
just
at
to
some
add to the
point.
difficulty. Just to add to the difficulty.
That may
Are they a
change
bad
at some
guy?
point as story dictates, but we'll see.
Okay, cool. Next thing on the list is just give us a brief description of how you appear in your superhero endeavors. Again, we'll start with Jim.
Okay.
We'll start with blank.
Yes. I'm trying. So the interesting thing is that as far as Skylar is concerned, is when you say how do you appear? What are you asking about physical appearance, or are you asking about?
Yes, basically, if someone was to see you while doing your superheroing, what would they say?
Okay, gotcha. Right. He hasn't decided on his superhero name. He's still right now just using his hacker name. which is probably, I was thinking about making it like not or null or something like that, and I haven't quite zeroed in
Ooh,
on
I
that.
like
But we're
null.
kind of there. Yeah,
Yeah, I like
I'm thinking
null,
I'm
yeah.
probably going to go with null.
No.
So that's just basically, and that's what he always got called on the comms when he was helping out the hero he used to work for. But when you see him now, he doesn't really have much of a costume yet. He's just sort of thrown himself into this because it's like the hero that he used to work for is no longer with us. So what you'll usually see is he's got basically this, he's got like a long black overcoat, which is, just kind of like it, but probably faux leather, not real leather necessarily. He can't afford that, or if he can, he might be able to afford it. I don't know. We haven't decided that. We'll figure it out. Long coat, and just kind of sort of a basic, like probably usually a solid color shirt, probably like a blue shirt. Trousers, and the coat has like a lot of pockets in it for various gadgets and things that he throws in there, and he has just started wearing a mask, which is just a thing that he put together. He hasn't had time to really make, because he hasn't fully decided who he wants to be yet. He hasn't made it particularly fancy. He's just created it. He's put together a mask that does fit to his skin.
Well, this is Doctropolis, home of heroes. Chances are you can go down to your local fancy dress store and pick up a really good quality domino mask.
That's fair. He also he kind of, to a certain extent, makes a lot of his own stuff, so that's kind of where a lot of that comes from. But so it's basically it looks a lot like a dime store mask, basically, that you'd get at Heroes R Us. That's sort of, so it's like a black mask, simple thing that he has on, and he isn't particularly and so he is like short, closely cropped dark brown hair. He has sort of light tan skin, and that's what you would see when he's out heroing, basically.
And very cool. I'm kind of imagining kind of a Neo look.
Kind of, yeah. So it's like he does sort of the darker end of colors and gloves and things like that. And so sort of pseudo Neo looking. Yes, yeah. He saw the Matrix, and for some reason he's not gotten over it.
So like a '90s hacker.
Yeah, basically.
It is very Beacon-like, though.
It
is very Beacon-like.
So now you need to go with Swordfish as a name.
We're thinking about always swordfish. We don't know why.
And no one knows why he chose that name, but we just went with it.
Personally, I prefer the Eddie Izzard sketch when he goes password Jeff. Why? Because it was coded by Jeopardy Jeff, but all of the first of Jeff, 19 Jeopardy Jeff.
So I guess as far as other things people would see is sometimes they'll see he has a staff. Sometimes he'll use, since he does no martial arts to an extent, he learned it for self-defense. And occasionally, or smaller club-like weapons. Occasionally, he will throw things at people that turn into nets, that kind of thing.
Okay, and what about Puck?
Puck is very tall. They are 6 foot, 6'1". They always look taller than they are because they're always in big, clunky, chunky combat boots. They are very dark skinned. They are black. They have long box braids that run down to their hips that are mixed. Their natural hair mixed with extensions that are neon mint green and neon purple. They have a kind of like a denim vest. It's almost like a punk vest, except not. It's like torn up, beaten up denim, but not for the aesthetic, mostly because they've had it for a very long time and it's a little too big on them. That's where they keep all their tech. They wear like dark skinny jeans, like black skinny jeans, usually ripped, usually a little dirty. And they have a messenger bag they wear as well. They have big feet. They've got large hands. Their voice is kind of deeper than most people expect. Like, you look at them and you can't quite tell if they're assigned male at birth or assigned female at birth, and they want it that way. They don't bother with a mask. They don't bother with any kind of like attempting to hide themselves. They have very long acrylic nails that are like the stiletto nails that are that are like the mint neon purple with like the little mint gems on it.
So Puck blends.
Puck blends in to everything.
Yeah.
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 They
If
just like
everything is a Wraith, Puck blends.
Yeah.
Look,
Puck is the Wraith.
last person you
Yes.
see when you come in the room is Puck.
Yeah.
Last person.
I love it.
I love
I love it
that.
as well.
I love
next
that.
Next we move on to Metal Warp.
So what sticks out about Metal Warp is they are in grayscale. There is no color there. It's one of those things that tends to make people blink and like, is something wrong with my eyes? What's wrong with my vision? But it also does allow them to kind of disappear into the crowds, the shadows and the lighting, because of their grayscale. So it's they're very average, almost a kind of an androgynous appearance, with the hair's shaved on one side, flops over on the other, and again, you can't tell what color it is. It might be white, it might be a silver, we really don't know. It's just part of that grayscale. They tend to wear whatever when they're out and about. And even if they were to pick up a blue shirt, put it on, it becomes grayscale. It just kind of adapts to them as part of their coloring.
Kat, can I just mention, I have just realized I have the ability to turn you black and white if you so desire. I've just
Please.
discovered that.
Yes, please.
Okay.
Their parents are both superheroes. Mother comes from a off-world.
We'll get to that bit in as the
all
story
right.
unfolds, I think.
But yeah, that's Nova. Nova's very average, very bland.
Okay.
But they're not beige.
And describe for us Phobos.
So Phobos. Phobos he's a guy, African American. He has his haircut is usually in a very like a crew cut, where it's like a skin fade up to a very short style haircut. But he's always wearing, when he's not a superhero, he's always wearing like very casual clothes, but just very, very casual clothes. It's kind of like when you know him, which I will go into his backstory. It's kind of odd why he's wearing so many casual clothes all the time. But his superhero costume, it is so to best describe his superhero costume, it's a very like base of the costume is, skin tight, like this very tight, like very unique material, a skin tight material. But over on top of the material, covering his chest, his arms, his hands, his legs, his feet, is this really unique, shiny looking metallic armor that's covering everything from his like neck down his body. And it looks like there are parts of the armor that just like kind of lift up that could release either various weapons or something. And on his face, though, he has a set of goggles. And if you ever seen the show My Hero Academia, the character Razorhead, the goggles that he has are these goggles that hide his like field of vision, but it allows him to like have a full field of vision, but it doesn't allow people to see where he's looking at and what directions he's looking at. And it's for a reason, because of what his powers are, and I'll get into that.
Yeah, we'll be getting there. It's going to be fun. Okay, and Black Raven.
Hi. So, I don't know if you want me to go into what her powers are.
We'll get to powers. The powers is the next
it
section.
ties into the costume, so you have to know.
Okay.
So I've picked hydrokinesis. Basically, she's a waterbender. So that being said, it's very form-fitted, but it almost looks like it could be physical water. Like the fabric moves like water, it looks like water. And she has what looks to be a raven, but it's like white caps from waves make the shape of the raven. So not black at all is the answer to that question. Should really be like watery raven. But there's a reason it's black raven, and I'll get into it, but
Well, I think part of that is probably the playbook.
what? The
Well,
name?
being reformed. No, I'm saying the
Oh.
black part of it.
Oh, sure, we'll go with it.
It's a bit of a yeah. Okay, the next section is your abilities. I know that we're going to have this bit gets a little bit more complicated for one of our heroes, with Wally, but we'll get to there. But we'll start off with Jim. What are Null's abilities?
Okay, so yeah, Null has the abilities of martial arts and camouflage and stealth.
That's cool. Is it any specific martial arts, or is it just your generic
I think
comic
so.
book martial
The
art?
person, well, the person that that taught him is basically, I want to say, is kind of like whatever this, where he used to work for the world's greatest detective superhero. So whatever this world's version of that is. So he was taught mostly leaned more into the self-defense arts. So it's going to be more on the sort of the Aikido end of things. But probably just a lot. So he probably learned a lot of the basics of a lot of different martial arts, though, as part of the whole thing, because it's like, it's like, okay, you need to learn to defend yourself. You're going to need to learn at least 7 different martial arts. What? Okay.
I will admit there was a part of me that really wanted you to just respond with, "I know kung fu."
That's fair.
Okay, so martial arts, camouflage, and stealth. And what about Puck?
Puck has gadgetry and hacking and illusions.
Ooh, there's going to be some interesting team combos that are going to come out of Puck and Null. Okay, I just wrote illusions.
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 That is the more powerful version of illusions.
Yes.
It is. It's the contraction of Uber illusions. Okay, and Metawarp.
Oh, Metawarp is interesting in that Metawarp's abilities are kind of vague under cosmic energies. So taking a little inspiration from Galactus and the Silver Surfer, what I've come up with is they can pull a soul from a body, but they can't put it back in. They're able to rip through the fabric of the dimensions to create a portal that allows for instant travel. They have super strength, and they can project energy as almost like a force. And it's just pure power, pure energy.
Quick question about the portals, just for so when I'm thinking, these portals, are they open, you step through and instantly close, or can you hold them open for other people to go through?
They step through, they close.
It's pretty much just pretty much just a I can transfer, I can transport this distance. Okay, cool.
They're actually forcing that rip. So as soon as the matter passes through it, it's going to slam shut again.
Okay, cool. And okay, so now we get to the protege. Now the thing about the protege gets a little bit more interesting with the protege because of the protege has a mentor. So who is your mentor?
So the mentor of Phobos is a a legacy hero called Midnight. And the best way to describe Midnight is, what if instead of Bruce Wayne being Batman, Tony Stark was Batman? So he has the whole I'm the Dark Knight, protector of this city, but he's not the brooding type. He is like, that's me. I'm the guy who came here, broke into your place, ninja'd you up, and I left you here for the cops, kind of thing. And also because of that, he doesn't hide the fact that who he is. He's very well known throughout the city of Doctropolis as being one of like the philanthropic billionaire playboy kind of guy. He adopted, well, I guess I can go, I'll save that for his backstory, but his like suite of powers is that he has known to have like this suit that enhances his fighting abilities, and that it just takes whatever base fighting abilities has and it boosts them up even further. And so I gave my mentor the
one quick question before you get into the abilities. Do people know you're his protege /
Yes.
he's your mentor?
Yes.
Okay.
It is well known, and Ezekiel hates that.
Okay.
It'll get it. Yeah.
So basically, you know, because you've often had people refer to you as like Midnight's lapdog or whatever.
It's more that because Ezekiel wants to be the real Batman kind of person, in that he wants to be this superhero that criminals are supposed to fear. But Midnight, they view him as like, yeah, he's this superhero that we don't fear him. We just don't want to get our butts kicked by him and our plans ruined by him. Phobos, on the other hand, because of his power itself is fear and intimidation. And I kind of like decided to give like a meta twist to his power, fear, intimidation. Rather than he is just intimidating, fearful, he has the ability to look at someone in the eyes and they see their worst fear.
So he's a boggart?
Kind of like that, yeah. Like
That's
they like
cool.
the thing
Daddy
is
issues.
no one else will see it. It's like just the person he's looking at. As soon as they lock eyes with him, that's it. They see whatever their worst fear is, Phobos now looks like it.
So it's like a soul gaze.
Yeah.
Kind of like Scarecrow's gas.
Yeah, it's kind of like Scarecrow's gas or like Ghost Rider's Penance Scare. Like he has to like lock eyes with them and they just see their worst fear. And the longer he has that like eye connection with them, the more overwhelming it gets and it can just break the person down. And
Okay,
he was born with this ability, so that's why he wanted to be like the Batman kind of superhero.
Okay, so that's your unique ability, because the way that for those who don't know, the way the protege works is you have a ability that you share with your mentor, then you've got a mentor's got a unique ability, and then you've got the hero's unique ability. So which ability do you share?
We both share powerful armor, whereas Midnight's powerful armor, it enhances his fighting abilities. It's the best way to describe Midnight's version of the armor is that it's kind of like Neo in the Matrix, where it just downloaded everything, like any kind of martial arts fighting style was downloaded into Midnight's body. And it's like all relies, it's like just like tapped into his nervous system. So he just knows it. He didn't study it. He just knows it.
So the armor's doing the fighting for you, kind of.
Yeah. For Phobos, it's kind of like the basic version of that. He doesn't download he doesn't know all the fighting styles in the world. He just knows like one or two, and it's just good for like, and it's like he knows one or two things. He knows like karate, he knows boxing and stuff, but the suit also allows it to shoot out like little tiny blades from his wrists, like long range grappling hooks and whatnot, because he can't fly. So it like shoots out grappling hooks that he can repel himself up the side of buildings. It's it's more utilitarian, whereas Midnight's suit is like, it just makes me the most powerful guy right now in this city.
Okay, and what is it your mentor can do and you can't?
My mentor, because of his version of the suit, it's that it gives him impossible is listed as impossible fighting skills. Like, he knows everything when it comes to fighting, and there are things that people don't even know. Like, there are like fighting styles that aren't even known in this world. He's created, and he knows them, and that's just like kind of just fuels his ego.
Okay, and the last thing I just want to quickly do before we move on to our final hero's abilities is you need to make a couple of decisions regarding your mentor. Which of the 5 labels does he embody?
Oh, he embodies savior and superior.
Is it 2 that you got to do? Or is it just
I
one?
think it's. Oh no, I got to circle 1 each. So he embodies savior, but he denies mundane.
Okay, so savior and mundane.
Yes.
I just need to quickly change that to that and then go. So embodies superior and denies mundane.
Correct.
Yeah, it's just that comes into important things when you start having interactions with him.
Boy, howdy does it.
Yeah. Okay, and Black Raven, you've already mentioned you've got hydrokinesis. Is there anything else you want to touch on with that?
Well, so my abilities, I only get to choose one from the list. And I just really wanted to play a waterbender, which was kind of why I wanted to play the Nova. But you let me rescan either ferrokinesis or geo. I think I would have gone, if I had to pick one from the list, it probably would have been geokinesis.
Yeah, I mean, I've had conversations with quite a few of the players behind the scenes and saying that, you know, the abilities list they've put on there aren't necessarily great. They're aiming at specific things in specific comic books with them, and when you said hydrokinesis, I was cool with that.
I think the other thing that it's nice is it gives you a place to think, because if you like Google superhero powers, you come up with a list of like way more than you can digest. But yeah.
Oh, if you want to have fun, try using Google to find out what cosmic energies means as a superpower.
But I just meant
it was an interesting conversation.
I just meant you could Google it, but you'd get a Wikipedia article that probably has 100 different superpower entries, where if someone gets decision paralysis by large lists, this is a small list that you could pick from to create a character.
It's kind of like that. It was just, I was like, I think it took me 10 minutes to get to the point where I could go, okay, well, when it comes to cosmic energy, they're talking about people like Galactus, Silver Surfer, the Immortals, those characters, but it doesn't actually tell you what it is about it that it actually does. It seems to me that cosmic energies is basically the we want this hero to be able to do this, but we don't have a good reason why. I know, cosmic energy. So we've got to play with that. Okay, so that brings us to the end of abilities. Okay, so now you need to set your labels. The way labels work, I mean, for those who don't know, is you've got 5 different labels which describe where your character is at emotionally, mentally, etc., in relation to dealing with the world. You have danger, which is their ability to fight. That to a large extent, they're very much self-explanatory. So danger is how willing you are to put yourself out there, take risks, fight, etc., etc. Then you've got freak, which is pretty much how not normal you are. Your higher freak would be you'd be more of an outsider, loner, just not like other people. Then you've got savior, which is just how much you want to protect and defend other people. Then you've got superior, which is basically I'm better than you, for obvious reasons. And then you've got mundane, which is the opposite of freak, which is you're concentrating on trying to be normal. I'm not saying you're succeeding, but you're trying. On your playbooks, you will have each of the stats will have a starting value. You get to put an additional +1 on any of them. So you can move any of them up 1, and that will be your starting labels. I won't go through it on the discussion right now, but I know we've got the sheets inside the Roll20 for later and all that sort of stuff. And between now and next week, we'll make sure that that's all squared away and lovely. We won't go into the conditions just yet, just to say that when you get damaged in masks, you mark a condition which will affect your emotional thing. So the idea is to play into the conditions that you get. So if you get hit and you choose angry, your actions are going to be more motivated by rage than other things. And if you're hopeless, you're going to be far more hesitant to do things and all that sort of stuff because you're not this, that, and the other. Okay, backstories. This is the bit which is going to have people that are watching incredibly intrigued, is the backstories for people. Has everybody got a good idea of their backstory first?
I do.
Yes, but I
Remember, okay, I'm going to go through people for backstories, but what I want is just the paragraph on the back of the book of your hero, which gets people intrigued to read more, not the full backstory, because we're going to want a load of that to come out during play. Okay? I'm hoping everybody can handle it. If you can't, you'll just say, we'll get to that later. Yeah, you just respond with that, and we're all good. We'll get to it later. Okay, Null.
Yo.
Your backstory.
Okay. So basically, the Null was found at let's see, paragraph. Okay, I'm trying to condense it here. From a young age, Null had a very deep interest in both computers and in gadgetry, and essentially sort of grew up with it. I think it has to do with I think his father probably runs a tech company of some kind, and so he kind of grew up learning how to do that. When he was around about 12, he was discovered by the someone who is he had already gotten into hacking by the time he was 12, but he was, of course, not quite as sophisticated at it as he is nowadays. But when he made the mistake of trying to hack into the files of this hero who we have yet to name, who was this detective hero, and was caught. And instead of getting turned in or anything, he basically was like, okay, he said, okay, I get it. You're doing this because you're bored. Why are you doing this? Because you want to actually try to make a difference. Okay, well, let me show you how you should actually do this. And so that was kind of how he started getting into this this whole life of being basically the guy in the van for this. Ultimately, is what he evolved into for this hero. Not a direct sidekick exactly, but this kid who helped him out and helped him, if need be, break in to got information for him, did research, dealt with security systems and all manner of that kind of thing, and ultimately, he kind of started doing that a little bit for other heroes a little bit as well, but mostly for this one. This hero, that he worked for within the last year, I'd say, has either perished or gone missing.
I'll answer that with gone missing, presumed dead.
Yeah, that's always the most popular one. Gone missing, presumed dead, and he had his Reichenbach Falls moment, and basically now Null is kind of at this point on his own, and he's seeing these things. He's seeing crime happening, and he's like, okay, I can't just sit here and not do anything, so I'm going to try to stop it. So he is taken to basically doing both parts of it now instead of just the one.
Okay. Puck.
Well, Puck was born with the ability to cause... Well, they were born with the knack to cause mischief. The ability to create illusions came when they were about 4 years old. But other than that, they were left homeless on the streets at 14. So they pretty much just had to step in and learn how to take care of themselves, which evolved into them taking down local bullies because they don't like bullies. So, in between trying to live on their own as best as they could and using their skills with computers and their trick with illusions to get by, they made the streets a little bit for people who were like them, the queer, the outcast, the sex workers, the people who didn't have any ways of being protected.
Okay, very cool. I like that. Okay, Metal Warp.
Metawarp's parents are both superheroes. Birth parent is from off planet, which is where they inherited some of their the majority of their abilities. What allows them to have those abilities without being burnt to a crisp is the fact that their father is a also a human superhero. It'd be like I don't know, if Silver Surfer had a baby with Wonder Woman type thing. Um, there's that mix of powers. Uh, they came into their powers around middle school and are still discovering them. And there is an expectation at some point that they will keep going. This is just the beginning. They're in training. There's an expectation that one day they will leave the planet and head off into the universe.
Okay, Phobos.
Ezekiel was pretty much an orphan. He was kicked out of his house. Well, not an orphan. He like once his powers manifested at the age of like around 12, he was kicked out of the house because his parents just couldn't deal with the fact that, yeah, this kid is a freak. So they kicked him out of the house. And so he grew up on the streets for a while, pretty much using his ability to kind of keep people away from him, but like, and also just being a real scrappy kid. And, you know, he would pretty much like thump heads with anyone who would either mess with him or mess with anyone else. Kind of, that's where he kind of learned like the idea of wrong or right, because like he was like one of those guys that could easily been a supervillain if he didn't have that mindset growing up. Then one day, Malcolm Moore, who is one of the big like philanthropist billionaires, who also known superhero Midnight of Doctropolis, during a charity event, noticed Malcolm and saw him. And here's the thing, and it's kind of like a testament to his character, of Michael's character, of Malcolm's character, is that he took him in because he saw him that, you know, he was a metahuman, but also the fact is like, I'm supposed to do this as a superhero. I'm supposed to take the little kid off the streets and make them my sidekick. So that's why he took Ezekiel in, because he needed a sidekick and he felt this fit the narrative he's supposed to have as a superhero. And so he trained him in his ways of being a superhero. He gave him his suit and he helped him focus and develop his abilities. And he decided to continue his own quest of just keeping the streets safe. Because while Midnight is saving the world, he just wants to keep the streets safe through this power of fear that he has.
Very cool. I'm loving everything so far. And that brings us round to Black Raven.
Hi. So Black Raven actually comes from a long line of supervillains. I've decided that she is actually a legacy supervillain, because presuming because superheroes can have legacies, supervillains should have legacies. But I don't actually think her mom or dad were Black Raven. I think it was either like a family friend or, you know, a team of supervillains basically decided that, including her parents, decided that they were going to train her from a young age to have these superpowers, or to be able to become a supervillain. I also like to imagine that Mika, or Black Raven probably was kind of like Jack from The Incredibles, had these powers like from like baby, like the ability to like basically juggle water, and nobody believed her babysitters for a long time that she could do that. So that led to a lot of like martial arts and figuring out how to blend the innate natural ability into a fighting style. Because I like to imagine that her punches are just supercharged with water. I don't know if you've ever like sprayed someone with the hose close up, or like I'm just imagining like being punched with a ton of bricks, or being kicked. But in that, I think at some point there was yet a name Mr. Miyagi to her that made her realize that super villainy was not the be all and end all. I don't know if it was something that she realized before that and seeked a second opinion on it that I haven't quite decided. But ultimately, she lives on the streets, is probably good friends with Puck from their homelessness, and now wants to make a name for herself as Black Raven, as a superhero rather than a supervillain.
Awesome. I can see. I've been sitting here, listening to each of you go, basically like in my head, glancing between the two panels on the videos, going, well, there's the links there, all the little interlinked things that for threads for me to pluck on later. It's brilliant. Okay, now we get to a fun part, which is where you all start coming together a little bit. When our team first came together, we're going to be doing this a little bit differently to how it plays straight out of the book.
Are we going to do influence before that?
Influence comes after that, because when our team came together, then relationships, then influence.
Oh, I can't read. Sorry. I'm just going to let you.
Well, the idea being is that you can set your relationships and your influence after you've constructed how you all met, how you reacted when you met, and all that sort of jazz. That way you get a bit of interaction firsthand. The way it works traditionally is that each playbook has a question, and I ask those in a certain order. But what I'm actually going to be doing is asking all the basic playbook questions with a slightly modified version of the reformed one, because it almost duplicates the balls. So when it's your playbook, you will definitely be the one who decides exactly what. Have conversations with each other, going, oh, this is cool. But whoever's given the question will be the one who comes up with the final answer on things. Okay, so we're going to start with the bull question, which is none of the above. So I'll just go through the order of the list that I've been doing it so far. So we'll start with Jim.
You.
When you all came together, you defeated a dangerous enemy. Who or what was it?
Okay. Let's see. I suspect that this could be someone that might be tied to might have been a villain that one or more of us was trying to deal with. I could just spontaneously create a thing, shall I?
I mean, you totally
absolutely.
can. Yeah.
Okay, we were fighting we're basically fighting one. It's one of those from the category of self-replicating AIs. I don't want to say that it was something quite as bad as like an Ultron type deal, but something that could have gotten that bad.
Ultron Light.
Yeah,
Ultron Light. A third less
Basically-
calories, twice the flavor.
precisely. This being it's an entity perhaps from beyond that had come to basically start cataloging and
Okay.
assimilating everything on the planet. And
So instead of Ultron, it's Okatron.
yeah.
I mean, it's not Ultron. It's like, yeah, I guess.
Mediocretron.
Yeah.
Mediocretron.
I mean, yeah, it's okay, but not Ultron.
Yeah.
He's an average Tron.
Yeah, it's like, yeah, it was worth it if I was bored, but I'm not getting those 3 hours of my life back.
Okay,
The Middletron, yes.
I'm just going to do a follow-up question with that and ask you. Okay, so we now know it was Mediocretron. We'll come up with a proper name at some point. What were they doing there? Basically, what were they doing when you guys showed up and stopped them? This is a follow-on to your question, Jim.
Okay. I think that I think basically it's going to be one of those cases. I'm just going to steal from other sources here, and say that it was basically
We're paying
okay.
homage. We're not stealing.
Yes, I'm going to pay homage to something where basically he was recording everything about Doctropolis, and then was was systematically then destroying the physical copy. Basically, it's like I've got the essence of it. I can make another one if I want to. So I'm just going to destroy this temporary physical copy so that because now I have a version within me that will be permanent. And so it's basically starting to knock down buildings.
It's like that one quote from Futurama. It's like, I'm gonna make my own Doctropolis with blackjack
Blackjack
and hookers.
and hookers.
Yeah, forget the blackjack.
Yes.
Oh my gosh, I'm now picturing like
Oh my God,
AI
it's
is basically
Bendertron.
Bender. Yeah.
Not enough hookers in this city.
We're going to rebuild this city. We're going to make it. I'm just going to knock this city down, and we're going to rebuild it and make it better. That's the plan.
In their image.
Yes.
Okay.
I found your
now
flaws. I'm correcting them.
Now we go slightly out of order and we go to our reformed Black Raven. Acquaintances from your old life were involved. How were they involved, and how did this affect you?
So, I might use one of my friends from low places, which is something in my playbook that keeps me connected to the villain world. I think Robo Piercer, either like supplies tech or is basically like the sidekick to insert Tron or insert word before Tron here, or insert word here Tron. There we go. As one of my contacts, he does like alien tech and stuff. So maybe there was some sort of weapon. I'm guessing, or I'm going to say Robo Piercer is part of my family's super villain team. And I think as this being one of our first meetings, it was hard for me to fight against someone I basically grew up with.
So during that whole fight, what you're saying is that you probably concentrated more on Bendertron than Robo Piercer because you didn't really want to take him out.
Exactly. I left it for someone else.
Okay, fantastic. Okay, so Arnova, Metal, you destroyed some of your surroundings in the fight. Where was it, and what did you destroy?
Yeah, well, one of those buildings that it was trying to, it hadn't quite yet taken over, and it hadn't quite dismantled yet. Metalwork is still kind of learning their abilities, and meant to throw up a shield to kind of stop them, and instead leveled a city block. Oops.
Okay, so we had an
Oops.
entire level, a city block
Yeah, just
come down in this fight.
yeah. It was just. It's almost like a phase void, just gone.
Okay, the next one is the outsider question, but we're going to ask this one to Puck. You didn't trust each other at first, but that changed. How and why?
I think,
My fault. Blame me.
honestly, I think that Puck and Black Raven probably have they probably vibe pretty. So I'm thinking that the majority of the distrust came from the fact that Puck is so used to working alone that they didn't trust other people. Specifically, people like Phobos, like Null, like more established heroes who have contacts within the city who are clearly on the right side of things. So I'm thinking that they witnessed either Phobos or Null put themselves in danger or pull off something really, really, really cool with their powers that kind of just made them pause and think, you know what? Okay, maybe I misunderstood him.
I think it's probably also because Phobos would have definitely been like focusing not on like specifically like stopping the robots or this maleficent AI from like destroying buildings, but they were like he was focusing on saving people on the streets, like rather than stopping like any like robot. So it was like stopping, like he wasn't trying to stop the robots, he was just trying to stop like the people. So maybe that is probably what got Phobos on Puck's side a bit.
Yeah, especially because their whole initial thing with Phobos being their protege and Phobos being known,
Yeah.
especially for Puck because Phobos was homeless too. It's kind of like a, well, shit, that could have been me, kind of a thing.
Yeah.
So they're probably a little bitter.
So what I'm hearing is that the trust started to come about, from like a mutual respect, just from people doing their jobs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kind of stepping up and doing what needed to be done.
Okay, very cool. Next is the Janus question, which will be going to Arnova. The question is, you saved the life of someone important, either to the city or to you as a team. Who was it, and why are they important?
I think it was midnight.
Oh.
I think.
Ooh.
Oh,
I think
okay.
When the Meta Warp came in on this, again, the being able to project that protection field, at the beginning of the fight, there was something, they were distracted in some way, and so Meta Warp just encased them in this bubble that prevented a building from coming down on them or an attack in some way. Creating kind of like a force field around them so that they were uninjured. But I think they didn't see any of the others. They had just come on the scene. They saw Midnight, knew who Midnight was, saw the danger that Midnight was unaware of, and threw a shield around them.
The way I'm envisioning this, it's your decision, but what I'm seeing is this. Midnight in his power armor, the combat, the robot realized that he couldn't go ahead up on the fighting and proceeded to hack Midnight's suit.
Ooh.
Oh, yes.
Ooh. And what if they had to fight Midnight because they took over the suit in like as part of their big techno takeover? They took over Midnight's suit, and they had to fight Midnight.
So at one point, there was the three of them. There was Bendertron, there was Robo Piercer, and Midnight against the five of you. You managed to throw up your bubble around Midnight, which broke the connection to Bendertron, which basically allowed him to turn around and that process effectively took Midnight out of the fight. Basically, he ended up falling to the ground while he was safe, and he was no longer he was no longer on the wrong side, as it were. He was out of the fight, leaving it to you to save the day.
To the five of us I like that. I like that a lot.
I like that a lot.
Yeah.
Okay, now we're back to Puck with the delinquent question. You totally broke some major rules to win the fight. What rules did you break, and whose rules were they?
I'm thinking they were Phobos's rules.
Totally.
Because everybody else seems to be very like gray, morally gray, and then there's Phobos who's like the fucking paladin of the group. Everybody else is a rogue and Phobos is a paladin.
I was gonna say everybody else is like chaotic good, chaotic neutral, and then we've got lawful stupid. I mean, lawful.
But I will say, in the Discord where we first started putting the groups, I did turn around to everybody and say, "This is looking very, very more and more like we're going with, like Young Justice Dark."
It's because, like, even Phobos at his own point, he's not like a morally good person. He likes being intimidating and fear, but he has a set of rules that he follows because he's the protege of like one of the number one superheroes of this city.
So he's Oath of Conquest. We'll let it.
Yeah, that's exactly. He's a vengeance paladin. That's what he is.
Vengeance.
Don't be lawful stupid.
So would it make more sense that you're breaking Midnight's rules
Ooh.
rather than Phobos's?
That makes sense.
Yeah.
And that
Yeah, 'cause
puts Puck
effectively-
on Midnight's shit list.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you saved Midnight,
Ooh,
and he's going to appreciate that.
This
But
works
at the
out
same
so well.
time, he thinks you went too far with something.
Oh God. Yeah. I just
So
can
now we all
imagine
have
this
daddy
thing where it's
issues.
like, okay, I had to put an antivirus in to clear everything out. It's going to affect your operation for a while. I couldn't do anything about that.
Sorry, we might overclock your CPU for a bit with all these extra processes to clean you out, but
Windows 10
Ah.
update coming in.
That actually could be the answer for our next question. But yeah, it's going to be up to Phobos.
Okay.
It's the Dunes question. You paid a high cost for the victory. What was it? Could it be Midnight being taken out of action for a while?
You know what? Because like thinking about it, and the fact that there was a point where Midnight was like, how like in the story, like when you read the comic and there's like that one like teaser page where it's like this is happening next for the next issue. Like the last page of that issue was, and we definitely I forgot what we said we were going to call him, like the Supremacy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
So the
in
scene
the chat.
where the Supremacy, like I kind of picture the Supremacy doesn't even have like a form really. It's just like this mass of like, it's just an AI.
Almost holographic.
have you
Yeah, it's,
Yeah, nice.
yeah.
have you ever seen like when your cable television breaks up? I just have this vision that it's like a cloud of pixelation.
Yeah, it's kind of
Yeah.
like that. And so there was probably the last page of the comic was just the voice of the Supremacy going, so now you're going to have to face probably the greatest weapon I have ever obtained. And you just see Midnight just slam into the ground superhero stance, and he stands up, and it's like a shot of all their faces of like, oh. So that's when they had that big fight against Midnight, and the big sacrifice that was made was that it took Midnight out completely, because Puck probably did something along with Nova. Like Puck broke some rules to make Midnight lose, along with Nova putting up this force field.
What if Puck
Okay.
fucked with the suit?
No, but yeah, I was
Yeah.
just going to
Okay,
say
the way-
Midnight
okay.
Suit just went offline.
Okay, the way I see it is that as a result of all of your actions, I mean, Metawar put the barrier up, stop the control, but in order to keep the control permanently gone with the various hackers and gadgetry people that we've got going on, you effectively neutralized his suit, which means Midnight cannot be Midnight until
Yeah.
he goes through the months-long process of building the suit again.
Yeah, and
Which
like
means
yeah,
we still have Malcolm Moore as a mentor,
yeah,
but you've got a Malcolm Moore who's pissed at you for destroying his suit, even though you saved his life.
yeah,
What
like
if
yeah, and that is the big price we, like, because of our actions, we saved the city, but we've taken away one of its greatest protectors.
Which also gives you all a bit of a drive to step up and do more to basically fill up his shoes.
And what if it wasn't just Puck? What if it was Puck and Null working together?
Yeah.
Because Null is also a hacker.
Yeah.
That's what
I was trying desperately to counteract the thing, and it was like, I gotta shut it down. We have to shut it down. That's all we can do.
And like,
Puck eventually just reaches in and grabs like the circuit board and rips it out with their nails.
Pull the main.
I've just got a
pull the
vision
main board.
I've just got a vision of the two of you, walking up to a couple of telephone booths, a la Hackers style, and just randomly doing the bit from the end of Hackers.
I use a picture. Noel went to a telephone booth. He plugged in his this device, and he looked over and he said, "I'm in." And Puck is like, "Are you?" I'm like, "No, I just really wanted to say that."
That'd be funny is because they're expecting all these TV hacker tropes, and he actually tries to do it more realistically, which requires a lot of on-site stuff.
Yes, exactly.
So it's like, all right, no, I can't do it from here. We just got to put this thing that looks like a Pringles can next to the building. That's what we got to do.
And I picture this there was probably a big slug out fight scene between Midnight and Phobos, and there was because they were just a big slug out fight scene, and Black Raven, while all this is happening, is doing huge crowd control because at the same time Supremacy is still sending all of these things at us. So I just picture Black Raven is doing all this to keep them away, but at the end it just took out Midnight completely. It took out what makes Midnight Midnight.
Yep. Yeah. Okay. I'm really liking this origin story so far. It's got all the beats we need for a proper team formation. Okay, so the next question we've got is the legacies, which who had the last one?
I think it was me. Yeah.
Okay. So we move. So we'll be asking Black Raven this one. It's all things considered, you did well and impressed an established hero. I'm guessing not Midnight. Who was it?
This Midnight's like, fuck these kids.
Points to Phobos. Fuck that one in particular.
Especially that one particular.
That's why I fixed his armor. That's a good question. I've been so focused on supervillain names that I did not come up with any superhero names.
Well, there is the one that I've thrown you in Discord, which was Magna Carta.
Right. It could be one of Metawarp's parents.
Which parent is on Earth?
The father.
The father. So it could be Metawarp's dad. It could be Magna Carta. I think Midnight is a bit dubious. I mean,
no.
He's a bit pissed with you.
I think I've had run-ins with Midnight, so fuck that guy.
It could be, your family's nemesis, as it were.
My former arch nemesis.
Yeah, that could be an interesting dynamic.
That is a good one.
I still have to name said hero. I think it's funny.
What type of hero are they?
That's a good question. I started watching One Punch Man, so I think probably a well-known reluctant hero. They became a hero out of circumstance, and then got famous because of it. Basically, One Punch Man doesn't want to be a hero. And I think that was a lot of I think it resonates with Black Raven because on the flip side, they were made to be a supervillain. And it means a lot that this yet named hero, who's a hero out of necessity or out of circumstance, I think it just strikes a chord because basically they were made to be a supervillain, or she was made to be a villain, from a baby.
Okay, very good. What we'll do is we'll flesh out exactly who that hero is in downtime in Discord before we start session 1, just so we can get moving. Because I like the idea, kind of a counterpoint to your family background and your specific circumstances,
Right.
and all that sort of stuff. So we'll do that. Okay, so now we move on to the protege. We stuck together after all was said and done. Why? How do we keep in contact?
I actually was thinking about this one because it kind of like leads into like, because Midnight is out of commission, and we impressed this hero that Black Raven knows. And I feel like even though this hero is like a reluctant hero, they're still one of the heroes of this city, if that's okay. And they were like, and they pretty much talked to Magna Carta. They mentioned Magna Carta was there. Like Magna Carta showed up along with this hero.
I'm just going to interrupt and saying, for those who are watching, and Magna Carta is not only one of the current heroes, was one of the founding heroes of Doctropolis. The impression that people have got is it's kind of a legacy as opposed to the exact same person, because the style of the armor and robes and the sword and shield that she carries, think Lady Justice, people, has changed as the generations have gone by throughout the city. At the moment, Magna Carta has not been seen for about 2 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, then it's not like, I would say it's not Magna Carta, but it's definitely because there's Midnight, who's like one of the big heroes, and we have this hero who's also another big hero. I feel like another one of these big heroes like arrived on the scene, and like I feel like it's kind of like this, like one of like the Superman of this world. Like this is the hero that like is one of the end all be all like words, right? And they arrive. And I feel like they are a hero kind of like Thor almost. Like they aren't a super, like something like that.
I'm saying, from what you're saying, I think actually Metal Warp's dad, Ronin.
Yes. Oh yeah. Oh, that's perfect. Like Metal Warp's dad, Ronin, showed up on the scene, and they were like, these kids worked really well together. They stopped this threat, and they look at Midnight. And they said they took Midnight out. We should, and we needed, this city needs a protector now that Midnight is gone. And begrudgingly, Midnight's like, fine, we should just have these kids replace me.
Comic book logic.
Is
his logic? He's like, 5 of these equal 1 of me.
Okay, I'm going to ask Meta Warp. Would it be a case of, exactly as described there with that sort of discussion, or would it be more a case of, would Ronin be more of a case of, okay, you guys have taken Midnight out of actions, you guys better step up?
Yeah, I think it's, especially.
Was it an invitation or more of a?
No, it was an expectation.
Yeah.
It was an expectation. There's an expectation that if you have, not just from Meta Warp, not just from their own child, but from the others, if you have these abilities, you don't get to sit out the fight. You have to step up. And especially if you've just been in a fight where one of the major heroes, one of our legacy heroes of Midnight, has been taken out, guess what, guys? Now it's on your shoulders. Time for you to grow up, step up, and start
consequences.
doing your thing.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I feel like that was the reason why, we're together, and like for how we keep in contact, is definitely through Midnight, because he's like, look, 5 of you equal 1 of me. That's my logic. So I'm going to make sure.
Well, if he's like the Tony Stark of the city, why doesn't he just give us like fancy new cell phones or fancy new communicators?
Yeah, exactly. That's what I was getting to that. Yeah, he just gives you all. He gives all of us.
Yeah.
Well, he doesn't give it to me because I already have one. So he gives the rest of you these cell phones.
Okay.
What I'll say, Power Ranger morphers, only no morphers.
Okay. What I'll say is this: he's given you both a cell phone for when you're in your secret identity lives, should you have them. which can beep and whatever. But when as to be put into your suits / masks, should you need it, is like an earbud thing.
Yeah.
Bear in mind that it's exactly like Phobos is. Chances are Midnight's going to be able to monitor all of your communications through it, unless some of our tech people do something about it.
Yeah, see, Puck is just like challenge accepted.
Yeah, and like I get the feeling like after Midnighter gave us these cell phones, like these communication devices, I looked at Null and Puck and I said, you make sure he can't hear us.
Or at least give us a secure line.
Yeah, give us a secure line or something.
Okay, I will say that the pair of them work on it, and as far as everyone knows, Midnight has been blocked out of a secure line.
Yeah, like there's
still a general. Basically, you've created an additional additional line.
Just create a new channel.
That you can switch between the two.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, and yeah, so basically this is the whole thing, which basically allows you to talk to each other while you're in the middle of things, away from a distance. It picks more up on the vibrations in the jaw and all that sort of stuff, so you can whisper and be heard properly by everybody else.
Yeah, it's like that, and it's like kind of like Bruce Wayne and Batman Beyond kind of situation, where we're in the field, we can just talk to each other, but also we can talk to Midnight and say like, what's information on this person?
Yeah, Midnight has said that he has no interest of being involved. He's got to, he's got to work on his suit.
Yeah,
but he's probably paying attention. The impression you get is that he both likes the idea and doesn't like the idea, so he doesn't want to get involved because this, that, and the other, chance to grow, all that jazz.
Yeah.
Okay, finally, we come around to the beacons question. You found signs that this incident was just the start of something bigger. What were those signs?
Oh, well,
BBS boards.
Yeah, part of the problem with this kind of thing is that when you have a bunch of alien tech being generated, some of it is going to probably fall into the wrong hands if it's things that are happening all over the city and pieces of the Supremacy's operation that we didn't manage to take out. I think we probably started to see things that the Supremacy built showing up in.
I'm going to throw this out there, and you can decide. When you investigated, the unit, which was effectively this thing once you discovered, you find a serial number showing that this thing is just one of
many.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that works.
Ooh, that's
great.
So good.
Okay, fantastic. So that's the opening thing. Now I'm going to close off the how you come together scene. And this is, it goes to a new panel, which is an area overlooking the chaos. You can see the little figures of each of you in the aftermath. You've got police sirens and all that sort of stuff. You've got the more paramilitary style vans of, I haven't come up with a complete name yet. I'm going to be asking for you guys for suggestions at some point, probably in Discord. I'm currently going with Paladin. It's effectively the equivalent of SHIELD, Aegis, this, that, the governmental.
Paladin sounds really good.
I like Paladin, but I'm having great difficulties actually turning it into an acronym.
Oh,
I might just go with.
Yeah, makes sense.
I might just go with. I might just go with Paladin because it's a good name.
We can figure something out.
We can workshop acronyms.
Yeah, we can work it out.
Palladium.
Okay, so we'll go with Paladin. You got the Paladin officers and all that sort of stuff, and it's off in the distance. The next panel, you see the same shot from slightly further away, and you can see the outline. It's almost in shadow. You can just make out minor details of. It looks like knightly armor, but high tech. And the left hand is on the spherical top of a marble platform at the top of a set of stairs on whatever, and then it cuts to another panel of Robo Piercer being loaded into the back of one of Paladin's vehicles, and the door being shut after it. The next panel, you can just see bits of marble shattering and going everywhere as the hand that was once there is just clenched on top of it. And then we get to the next panel of what awaits us in episode 1 of Doctropolis.
Nice.
I love it.
Nice.
Very cool. Very cool.
Nice.
Love it.
Okay, so that's we do need a team name.
I mean, like Outsider sounds really cool because I get the feeling like when we were making team names, Midnighter like jokingly like said, "Hey guys, how about Midnighter's kids?" And we all like gave him a look. He's like, "I thought Midnight Kids would be good."
The Squires.
Ooh.
If the name of the group is if the organization is Paladin, the Squires.
Oh, good lord.
Lord.
It's a fair thing.
I'm going to a superhero team name generator, Steve.
Yeah, right.
Well, I mean, right, you've got until the beginning of session 1 to come up with this, because basically for that, I've said this. The idea is that the campaign is actually going to be called Doctropolis and then colon team name.
What about like the miscreants? Since we're such a morally gray.
Or the
the
misfits.
one really on the inside of things is Ezekiel.
Yeah.
What about the hounds? Because paladins and hunting with with dogs.
We have yet to find out what your relationship with Paladin is.
I already can tell you.
Yeah.
I've probably been arrested.
Yeah, Puck doesn't like him either, I can tell.
So an association with Paladin may not be the best idea, especially if they don't like you.
Because like Ezekiel doesn't like Paladin because he considers himself, he wants to be a vigilante. He doesn't want to be like a superhero of the city. He wants to be a vigilante. Like he views himself that eventually he's going to like shed the identity of Phobos one day and distance himself. That's what he wants to do. He wants to distance himself from Midnight one day. Kind of like what Robin did when he became Nightwing.
What about like the Defiant or something to do with Defiance then?
Defiant sounds really good.
Rebels.
I like the Defiant.
Or Rebels, yeah.
Rebels with the cause.
Oh yeah.
Rebels with the cause.
You know what it sounds like? Rebels, the Defiant. I guess I kind of picture like it's called the Defiant, but like the
subtitle
is the subtitle is
Rebels with the
cause.
This is what I can see. I can see your group being called the Rebels. Yeah, because basically, you very rarely get listened to what the established heroes or Paladin tell you. But having Doctropolis : Rebels with a cause looks great.
Yeah, that does. Like we're called the Rebels, but it's called Doctropolis: Rebels with a Cause.
With a cause. Yeah.
Yeah, we can do that. That's cool.
Yeah.
Okay, fantastic. See, that is probably the hardest question you had to answer tonight.
Yay!
Yeah,
I'm glad I went to that superhero team name generator.
I have to say, tonight has been a prime example of just why this game and other Powered by the Apocalypse games are so great. Is that the collaboration of coming up with that scene of how you all came together was just awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, so we now have your know how you came together. Now we're going to go through and do relationships.
Are we going to do a break quick?
Yeah, quick question.
Yeah, we should probably do the break, shouldn't we?
Okay.
We've been going
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, we might just get through session 0 before we finish the stream then.
One can but
Mind you,
hope. I think we'll be
basically we'll do as much of the city generation stuff
Yeah.
As we can tonight, and the rest of it I'll just make up and throw things at you and bounce off things, because the idea I have is I want to get as much information tonight as possible to come up with something which just fits.
Sure. No,
That's
absolutely.
Nice.
But yeah,
Awesome.
we shall finish off the characters.
All right. Cool. All right. We will be back in just a few minutes. See you shortly, folks. we have returned, and now we're going to do more of the building of stuff.
Yeah, it's exciting. We're on to relationships, which is always the fun part. And as always tonight, we're going to start with the beacon, relationships. Blank is awesome, and you take every chance you get to hang out with them. Who's Blank?
Okay. I think that I think it's either going to be Puck or Nova, I think, probably.
Well, the other half is you've got to prove yourself to Blank before you feel
Yes.
like a real hero.
Yes. And that one is going to either be prove yourself to Blank. That one I think is going to either be oh God, the names are slipping away.
Couldn't be me. I'm a horrible.
Oh no. I think it's possible we may have fought before.
Probably. I mean, I've probably fought each and every one of you at some point. I was an established supervillain.
Oh God, it's like bleeding out of my head. Wally, what was your character's name again?
Phobos.
Phobos. Yeah, I think it could either be. I think the prove yourself to could either be Nova or Phobos for different reasons. And so it's an interesting question.
So go with picking ones, and if you want to change them during the week, we'll change them during the week.
Okay, I think I'm going to go with just for the. I think maybe I'm going to pick. Prove myself to Nova.
Well, Metal Warp.
Metal Warp. I'm sorry. I don't know who anyone is.
So that's the prove yourself, yeah?
Yeah, Metal Warp because they have this heritage that is very impressive. And I think I'll just say Puck is awesome. I take every chance I get to hang out with them because we worked together on a thing. And
Hacker buddies.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, I can just see in a lot of your off time, the two of you in some random room, PCs in front of you on some random MMO.
I had a weird idea
They're in
for.
4chan doing it for the lulz.
Probably. I had a weird idea for a character connection also with Phobos, but I can save that for like when we're doing the stuff later if you want. So that way, yeah.
That's cool. Okay, so our delinquents relationships. You keep trying to impress Blank with your antics. You and Blank pulled an awesome, if illegal, stunt together.
First one, the one with the impressive one, it's gotta be Null. They keep trying to impress Null.
I kept saying like they're trying to one. I keep saying they're trying to one up each other.
Impress you, and you're trying to impress him.
So they're constantly trying to one up each other.
Yes.
And it seems like they're rivals, but they're not. They're actually trying to be closer friends. But they don't
I love
because
that.
there are these two awkward internet children.
Yes.
They don't realize, hey, you two could be best friends.
They're best friends, but they don't know it. That's just brilliant.
They have been playing online together, teaming up in MMOs like World of Warcraft for years.
Yeah.
And when they
don't
find out
even
each
realize
other's
it.
screen names, they're like, wait, that's you?
Yes.
Wait, you're Glenda the Troll?
Like when you run into a Tumblr mutual in Lush, which actually happened to
That
me.
happens. That happens. That is real. That is real.
Okay, so you and Blank pulled an awesome, if illegal, stunt together.
Black Raven.
Yo, buddy.
Yeah, boy.
Okay.
We're not going to get into so
To
many
be honest,
shenanigans.
I couldn't really expect another answer there, could I?
No, you really couldn't.
Okay, now we.
Can you and I flesh out what we did that was illegal?
Yeah,
Hell
tell
yeah.
us.
Okay.
Or you can keep it between yourselves. It's up to you.
I think we're going to need some time to think about this.
Yeah,
Okay.
definitely.
If we're going to do it,
It will come up.
it's got to be something epic.
It will come
Like,
up.
We don't do things halfway if we're going to get in trouble.
Yeah, no.
Okay. On Nova relationships, you hang out all the time with Blank to blow off steam. You once hurt Blank when you lost control of your powers.
Pretty sure they hang out with Phobos. I have a feeling that they, after that whole midnight incident, they kind of connected. They both are have been in the shadow of somebody that they're trying to step out of, but it's kind of hard to leave that shadow behind.
Oh
So
yeah.
I think they tend to get together and just kind of blow off steam.
Like I feel like they they probably have like this evening habit of just going to a fast food place and ordering like a big thing of chili fries.
Yep.
And just sitting down and eating, and we're just like, and we just spill all the superhero tea,
Yes.
I feel like that's all we do, because we both have that in with like legacy heroes, so we know all the gossip and everything, and so we just sit down over really bad food and we just talk about all like the stuff they do that's embarrassing.
Yep. And I think I could see Phobos coming to Meta Warp and saying, I want to try out this new bit of armor.
Yeah.
Or Meta Warp going, let me see if I can power this up with my juice.
Yeah. That's what I feel.
So,
yeah, definitely. That's definitely.
Okay, is that for the second one or?
No, that's the first one.
Okay, cool.
So that's who they blow off steam with. Who did they injure? Who did they hurt? I think that they hurt Black Raven at one point. I think Black Raven got caught in some fallout.
Okay, did Black Raven know you were the one who did it?
Maybe at the time they were probably shadowing their father.
This would have been before you came together.
Yeah, this would have been before. So when Black Raven was still doing the supervillain thing, Meta Warp was shadowing their father, and had to.
Ooh, you did something which really hurt Black Raven, and that might have been made what Black Raven go, is this worth it?
Oh,
but
I like it.
But you don't know who each other is.
Yeah.
I still like my Mr. Miyagi idea, but
why not both?
Why not both? It could have been the
You
Mr.
found
Miyagi type
because something happened.
Who found you in that weakened state.
Yeah.
No, even my water bending couldn't save me.
Okay, Katara.
I mean, it's up to you guys. I'm just throwing it out as an idea.
I kind of like that idea as like, why did they seek out, like, because I hadn't really thought far enough ahead to come up with an idea as to why they were trying to find a mentor that like wasn't the original Black Raven or wasn't her parents, to like a reason why she would change. So I kind of like this, like, I come home bruised and battered. I don't really want this, but I do it because it's expected of me. There's got to be something else. I kind of like that as.
Yeah, and it was somehow Meta Warp with her father was involved in that. Whatever the incident was, you don't know that. They don't know that. Meta Warp has no clue. But
it could have
that's
been
where it happened.
coming along the lines of you accidentally knocking down some sort of building and it landing on Black Raven or something. But I'll let you guys flesh that one out. But I kind of like
leaving. I kind of like leaving it unknown, or when you figure out whatever the incident was, we just know that Meta Warp was involved in that incident.
Okay, so you don't know it was each other, but
right.
That's the link. I like it. Fantastic. Okay, our protege. You and Blank teamed up a few times before the rest of you came together. Your mentor is cautious. They asked you to keep an eye on Blank.
So I definitely know I'm going to answer the second one first.
Okay.
So my mentor is cautious. They told me to keep an eye on Metal Warp.
That was not a choice I would have made.
Well, but here's the thing is though, so that is what led into Metal Warp and Phobos's friendship, because
that's
Midnight
twisted.
told him It's like, I want to. This is an alien
that's
with this unmeasurable cosmic power, and we just faced off against an alien AI. There's
Yeah.
probably some link between them.
And there's also, speaking from the Midnight perspective, it's a case of he's dealt with the likes of Puck and Black Raven all his life. These earthbound delinquents, this, that, and the other. People like that. But Metal Warp is something else. It's extraterrestrial. It's got these cosmic forces involved. It's got an unknown quality to it, which would explain why Midnight would ask you.
Exactly. And so Midnight said, keep an eye on them.
so
And so then so I decided, originally my friendship with you was purely out of, he told me to keep an eye on you. But then our friendship slowly developed from one-sided, I'm faking this whole thing, to oh shit, they are really a good friend. But I still haven't told you.
Okay.
What?
And I think
Yeah.
I was gonna say part of that is because their mother, their birth parent, is no longer on Earth. They took off 10 years ago, when Metal Warp was still a small child, and hasn't been seen. And so it's just assumed that they've been off doing the superhero thing, doing the whole Captain Marvel thing, saving the universe. But so there's that question. Now you've got this alien AI that came in. Is there a connection? How is
Exactly. Yeah. And
I like that.
But they're originally he just formed this bond with you out of business. But then it just slowly realized oh, this is a person I can trust. And because he really doesn't rely on anyone. He likes to rely on himself. But then there is now someone that he can rely on. And it's oh, I get it now. Yeah. And he still hasn't told Meta Warp that this is the reason why they became friends. And he's really afraid to tell them because he doesn't want to lose them as a friend.
Yeah.
That is
nice.
totally perfect for the whole team.
Yeah. He doesn't want to lose Meta Warp as this close friend, but so he's keeping that to himself.
I just want you to know you read my mind, because I was going to ask you if you think the friendship came out of quote unquote keeping your eye on them.
Yeah.
But you answered that question.
Yeah. And for the first question, you and Blank teamed up a few times. Oh, easy. Null. Phobos and Null have teamed up so many times, but it was because Phobos is very much this Batman-esque hero, or this Robin-esque hero.
Okay, here's the question: was it before or after?
Oh, it was before.
Null's associated hero disappeared.
Yeah.
I.e., was effectively, Null's associated hero who.
So, I think it's because there's because you came up with that name of Dr. Twilight.
Yeah.
Of Dr. Twilight, and there's Midnight, and in this whole big comic verse, there was probably a short run series called Midnight and Twilight, and there was one issue where Midnight and Twilight were captured, and the cover read, the heroes are captured, who will step up? And it shows us on the cover.
Yes,
showing up an action pose.
Brilliant.
And, we teamed up only once for this.
How's this for the comic title for those two was Before the Dawn?
Yeah.
Yes.
I love it.
Yes.
That's brilliant. No, that works.
That works.
Yeah.
And
I was thinking that was the thing is that Dr. Twilight leans more into has some Batman-esque qualities, but is more of a much more leans into the detective side of things. Doesn't lean as much into the tech, which is why it was useful to them. Mm-hmm. Him or her or them, I haven't decided whether.
And it keeps the whole Doctor aspect of Doctropolis going.
Yeah, it's that too. And they also had a few mystical things going on. It's sort of low key, but it was So it was a thing where we sort of helped each other, and since
there was a whole thing where Midnight and Twilight. And like, thing is, Midnight and Dr. Twilight have been partners many, many times. We just never had a moment where we had to team up. But there was an issue where Midnight and Twilight got captured, and I was hunting down Midnight. You were hunting down Twilight, and we realized, oh, they're our mentors. So I guess we have to team up now.
And maybe it was the first time I started running tech for other heroes. That was probably the first time.
I'll say that before that, you unknowingly worked together a few times, where the information that Noel was gathering was passed on to Phobos.
Yeah, like, it was like, and we still haven't realized it.
For example, you needed to get into a building. You sent the message to Midnight. Twilight just happened to be on the comms and asked Noel to break, to get the door open. Stuff like that.
Kind of like adding to like Midnight's like just this shitty personality that he has. It's like Phobos asks Midnight, "I need information on this." Midnight's like, "Yeah, sure." Hey, Twilight.
I love it so much.
Job. Twilight was the investigator.
But thing is, even though he would ask Twilight, Midnight would play up like, "Oh yeah, I got that information for you. I found it out."
Exactly.
That's so good. That's so good. Because Twilight was actually the grim one.
Twilight wasn't even the one finding it. It was actually Noel this whole time.
It was like Noel the whole time.
Okay, so basically what we've come up with is that Midnight, if he had a playbook, it would be the Star.
Yes.
Which is all about being the center of attention.
Yes. Pretty much exactly that. So yeah, I think like they definitely worked together either indirectly, or there was one issue where they did work together directly.
Yeah.
And there was a lot of that was you.
Yeah.
The Spider-Man meme.
I thought you sounded familiar. Your voice. Oh my god.
Okay, so now we move on to the relationships of our Reformed. I've earned the trust of blank, and I follow their example of what a hero should be. I did something terrible to blank once. I hope they can forgive me one day.
So initially I thought I was going to give that one, my first one, to the delinquent. But I'm not actually sure the delinquent is what a hero should be.
That's fair.
But they're also probably the person Mika is closest to. So I'm conflicted about that. Really don't like Midnight, so Phobos is kind of like.
I mean, like I 100% Phobos understands when no one likes Midnight.
I mean, Phobos doesn't even like Midnight.
Midnight doesn't even like Midnight.
I know. That's part of the problem.
It's all of is internalized self-hatred.
Metalwork comes home with, I've been hanging out with Phobos. Midnight's kid? I'm not so sure you should be hanging out with us.
Dear, I really think you should rethink your friends. Hang out with that Black Raven girl. Black Raven girl.
She seems like a responsible young lady.
Oh, Metalwork did not mention Black Raven. It's like
Black Raven throwing a brick through a window.
Metalwork does not mention Black Raven doing that. No, that does not happen.
It's both sides. It's both sides because, obviously Ronan knows of Black Raven because of when the team came together. But, he deliberately doesn't mention Black Raven as long as you don't mention Black Raven.
I think I'm going to go with Null.
Null, okay.
None of you guys really fit this, but I have to make a decision.
What is it?
Null.
Okay, well, I think a good reason why you might have earned Null's trust is Null probably did a deep dive on information.
Okay, yeah, that works.
And found legitimate evidence that you were trying to turn things around and actually be a hero instead of a villain.
Yes, and I like it. I think the takeaway for Black Raven is that you should try to find the good in people because it's hidden in there somewhere.
Yeah.
I like that.
Okay, yeah, we can do that.
As much as I think Black Raven and Puck are friends. And they are probably the sole person on the team that they would trust with their entire life story. Because I also don't think that they really talk about the fact that they were a villain. Or she was a villain. Unless, like, maybe if someone asks a specific question. But I really want to go with Puck. And I don't know what I would have done. Specifically, that would be terrible. That you'd, like, hold a grudge against me. I got it! What if I felt guilty and went to the police after our great escapades?
Oh, shit. That would do it.
Or
Yeah.
confess to Dr. Twilight.
No.
Oh.
Even better. After your escapade, okay, of doing something together.
Maybe I just turn you. I snitch.
No. You got caught, Black Raven, and you flipped
Yes.
and put the blame onto Puck.
I didn't want to do this. I swear.
Oh, that hurts, bro. Oh, right in the
I mean,
Again,
heart.
it's your decision. I'm just throwing. Yeah,
That's a
I'm
good
Well,
just
that was
throwing
kind of what I
stuff out
meant by
there.
like snitch. I did the like. I fell for the Puck is telling us stuff, or we know someone else was involved. Just tell us, and we'll give you all. We'll let you go free.
And Puck ended up with a bunch of community service out of this.
Oof, no one likes community service.
I mean, at least you didn't get thrown in like juvie.
Well,
No,
it's
but there
one
was
of the
a lot
benefits.
there was a
It's
lot
one
of
of-
picking up a cigarette butts in the park.
Oh, okay. So that's our relationships. Now we move on to influence. Okay, influence is an interesting little thing. There's various bits of mechanics in the game where if you've got influence over someone, you get a benefit. If they've got influence over you, there's negatives. There's ways of gaining it. There's ways of getting rid of it, etc., etc. It's a whole, it's basically the whole of literally. It can be because of respect. You respect their opinion, etc. So you're more likely to listen to them. That's a form of influence, and all that sort of jazz. It will come up in many different ways. We'll go into it in more detail as it comes up in the game. But that's just enough of a description. So when I ask, who you're giving influence to, you've got an idea of what I'm talking about. So, Null, you are excited to be here. Give influence over you to 3 of your teammates.
Okay. And I think that's going to be Metal Warp, Puck, and Phobos.
Saw that one. Nobody wants to be friends with the super villain.
Well, I feel like the relationship is almost the other way around with us, because it's like, okay, I've checked you out. I know.
Oh yeah, I suppose I forgot.
Hey. At least Null trusts you.
Yeah.
That's true.
You gotta understand.
I mean,
Lobos
I thought my
doesn't
best
trust
friend
anybody.
Puck, I would be best friends with Puck, and then I got a little puckish, and
I do love how we've got some very, very cool angst potential so far.
Yeah, like you gotta understand. If anyone had a secret cloning facility of making clones of himself for in case one of us died, it's gonna be me.
And senior prom was a major cluster.
Okay, Puck, you care way more than you let on. Give 3 teammates influence over you.
I am picking Null, Black Raven, and Phobos.
what the Puck? Okay, sorry.
Wait, what?
That's going to be a thing. Or what the Puck?
Oh yeah,
Puck.
for sure.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's a thing.
That has to be a thing. Catchphrase.
Black Raven will make it a thing. Don't you worry.
Basically, whenever Puck does something totally awesome or total,
I mean,
it's just going to be a huge scribble.
I think I need to rename one of my moves to What the Hell Hero to What the Puck Hero.
Nice.
I'm on board. Okay. Metal Warp. Choose your demeanor. Happy facade or locked down.
Oh, lockdown, hardcore.
Okay, locked down. Give influence to 1 teammate.
Phobos.
That makes the most sense.
Yeah, it does.
So far, Phobos has influence over everybody.
I can tell you he won't have influence over me.
Yeah, makes sense. Okay. Phobos, choose your demeanor, playful or business.
Business.
Okay. To be honest, I wasn't sure which way you were going to go.
Yeah, but
I could have seen you going both ways.
I could easily go both ways, but that's the thing. Like, he doesn't. It's like, even though he views these people as his teammates, but he doesn't have a very playful demeanor. He's like, he has things he enjoys, and he does things that he enjoys. Like, he likes video games, he likes the things teenagers like, but at the end of the day, he's all business.
Okay, so if you choose business, give influence to no teammates.
Yep.
Yeah.
Wow.
Interesting.
Nobody has influence over Phobos.
I'm super
except
standoffish.
I believe Midnight starts with influence.
Yeah, Midnight has influence over me.
I'm using the puck hero on you all the time to get influence over you.
Okay, and then Black Raven. Do you talk openly about your days as a villain? If so, give each team member influence over you. If not, just give influence to one teammate whose example you most closely follow.
Oh, I really want to give influence to Puck, which I probably follow their example the most closely anyway.
That makes sense because
Even though
they're trying to do the right thing, but they're more your...
Right. I think a hero should try to find the good in everybody, but in a way that, because I'm so morally gray, sometimes it's just, like, easier to say F it and, like, do whatever. I don't think I talk about it. Like, I will probably try to answer questions about being a supervillain in as few words as possible, and usually giving you a non-answer. Like, what was it like to be a superhero? It was. So I think I'm gonna go with Puck gets influence over me.
Because you don't talk about it. Yeah, because you've really stated that you don't talk
You know
about
what?
the past.
Thinking back on it, he's gonna be playful, but it's like his own way of being playful. As in, like, because he's this standoffish type of guy, but if you know him the right way, you can get him to be this fun person. And because
I think what it boils down to is whether you consider the rest of the team as friends.
Yeah, and that's the thing is he does
associates.
Yeah, he does consider two people as friends.
Okay, yeah, okay, so we'll change that. Okay, so who's that going to be?
Meta Warp and Null. Actually, no, not Null. It's actually Meta Warp and Puck.
Oh,
yes.
Okay.
Because because he views, like, he's a really good, like, him and Meta Warp have become really close friends. He views Null as, like, a partner right now. That's the relationship they had. Like, they're not friends, but he's definitely someone that he can go, like, oh, I know I can count on you when we are in superhero fightings.
Okay, cool.
But Puck has influence over him because they represent what his past was.
Yeah.
Of him living on the street, of him scrapping and fighting just to survive.
I like that.
Use Puck as their anchor so he doesn't end up like Midnight.
Yeah, I like that. I like that a lot.
Dang, we're good at this.
So that's why he views Puck as, like, a friend, is because they are the anchor, so they will never end up being like Midnight. Like, Puck keeps him humble.
Okay, yeah, I like that. Okay, so we've got our influence sorted out, and there's a nice mix match and all that. Later on, you can believe that I'm going to be building a little spreadsheet to see who's got the most influence over other people and who's got the least, etc., etc., etc. Because I like doing that sort of stuff. Okay, so now you've got your moves. In the game, there's basic moves that everybody can do. I think there's 7 or 8 of them. We'll go over them in the game properly. But there's also individual moves that you can get from your playbook. I believe each of you get to choose 2.
Well,
We
actually,
won't
I get
go.
3.
I get
Do you?
3.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Obviously, it depends on the playbook and how powerful they are.
Yeah, it's gonna vary.
All I'm going to say is I'm just going to go through each of you, and basically, it's a case of just tell me which 2 you're picking. I'll give a brief description of roughly what they are, so people have a rough idea.
Okay.
All right.
Okay, so we'll start with Null.
Okay. Now I've got mine. I have the first 2. I am leaning into my mundane stat. So I picked straight up creepin', which is when you scope out a person or place.
That's the name of it. I love it.
I love that's the name of the move.
Is the ultimate surveillance recon move.
Oh yes.
Straight up creeping.
Straight up
And creep
creeping.
comes on the stereo.
Okay,
Yeah.
and the other one?
And the other one is no powers and not nearly enough training, which is I'm constantly picking up new gear to put myself in the game, and whenever I pick up a new piece, I can write it in as a new ability. If this line is empty, and I assume it's like I erase the thing and get rid of the item to get a new item in there.
For the first time you use each piece of gear directly against to blah blah blah. Yeah, basically, if the story requires you to lose something, you can get a new bit of tech, or you can throw away the bit of tech and get something new, for whatever story reason that we come up with at the time. I like that. They put a lot of really great names into some of these moves, and straight up creeping is one of the better ones.
I still
Both.
love What the Hell Hero so much.
It's such a great
I
name.
like it better now that I modified it.
What the fuck?
Okay,
Hero.
speaking of Puck, which 3 moves are you going with?
The first one I am picking is Mary Contrary.
I love that move.
Yeah.
Oh, it's such a good move. The second one I am picking Criminal Mind.
That's a good TV show too.
Okay, so the first one is basically okay, a very, very bad way of putting it is how to be a dick.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's a way of stopping other people influencing you with their moves.
Mhm.
Okay, Criminal Mind is similar to the Recon move, but it looks at it from a slightly more villainous standpoint.
Yeah. And the third one sorry, I didn't realize we were done.
Oh, no. And the third one?
Are you watching closely?
Are you watching closely? Ah, that's cool. Allows you to distract people, basically.
Mm-hmm.
Very, very
It's
cool.
allows me to use my highest stat.
Okay, and now we're on to our Nova, which have a really interesting thing called a burn mechanic, which is, spell points, basically.
So the first one is Reality Storm, which allows me to channel a destructive burst with my powers.
Excellent.
The second one is Shielding. You call up a fast protective shield to stop a danger.
Which is what you use to protect Midnight.
Then I have Boost, which allows me to supercharge a teammate's efforts with my powers, giving them a bonus to a roll.
Excellent. The Nova actually gets 4 moves, but they need the burn to power it, which is how it kind of balances out. They get more options, but they've got a limited resource to power them.
And then finally, Overcharge. You channel the full capacity of your incredible powers to overcome an obstacle, reshaping your environment or extending your senses.
So that's how the whole block disappeared.
That's
To
how
be-
it
to
does.
be fair,
Makes sense.
Overcharge is kind of I spend 2 burn to get an auto crit. Is basically what it boils down to.
It's like, oops, I lost control.
Oops. Yeah, never mind.
Okay, that's cool. Okay, the protege, Phobos.
So I chose been reading the files. So it's pretty cool. It's like I've learned the superhuman world through my mentor's resources, which makes a lot of sense.
Which is probably Twilight's database.
Yes, it's basically that. That's legit what it is Twilight's database. I also chose captain. So when I enter the battle as a team, I add an extra team to the pool and carry +1 forward if I'm the leader.
Both of them are dependent on you being the leader.
Yes.
I was just clarifying that just in
Yeah.
case you thought whatever. So when you engage a threat, a serious threat as a team, we go through this whole thing of starting up a team pool, which is something you can use to add to people's dice and all that sort of stuff. Part of that is picking someone who is leading the team at that point. If it's Phobos, you get extra team in the pool, and he gets +1 to all his dice rolls during that encounter.
You're gonna have to convince Black Raven you should be the leader. I'm just throwing that out there right now.
I mean, hey, it's what he'll do. He'll try to convince it, but that's his moves.
And your third one?
Heroic tradition.
Heroic tradition.
So I give someone the advice I think my mentor would give. I can roll the label my mentor embodies to comfort or support someone.
Which is
superior.
Superior.
That's very interesting. Because that means you have to go against your nature.
It's like I feel like what he would do is because for him, even though yes, he does not like Midnighter. He doesn't like what he represents, but there were times where Midnight is like legit gave good advice because he wouldn't be sticking around him for this long time if he wasn't.
Yeah.
Why do I get the feeling that Midnight's advice sometimes is going to be along the lines of just get good?
Yeah. Yeah, there were times when he was trying to get good advice from Midnight, and it was like 75% of the time it's like, dude, just get good at it. And that was the advice he would give him. But then there were times where he would legit give him sound advice, and it was stuff that he kept to the heart, and he helped that shape him into the person he is today.
Well, let's face it, just get good is a way of saying keep practicing.
Yeah, that too. But it's like he said it way too many times, and it's like
block better.
It's like
Ow, ow, ow.
Okay, so we move on to Black Raven's moves. Choose 2. So you're going for what the puck hero, right?
Yeah, I get to call heroes out on their bullshit, basically. I'm also going with wrong side of the tracks, which allows me an additional question when I pierce a mask of the villain, and I can also do it, or when I even on a miss. So I get a question no matter what when I pierce the mask.
Okay, for those people who know, pierce the mask is effectively insight.
Yes.
From a D&D terms. You've got another one which is assess the situation, which is your investigation/perception checks. Then you've got pierce the mask, which is effectively your insight.
Yeah, that's a good way of
it's not exactly that, but
individual or entire environment is how I think of the difference between them. And then when I pierce the mask of a hero, I can also add the question, what is your darkest moment, to my list of possible questions.
Oh, that's going to lead to some interesting stuff. Okay, now on a lot of the sheets, there's now little bits and pieces which apply to each individual hero. Some of them I'm going to go through now, some of them I'm not, because it depends on what they are. Okay, I think with Null, I think we'll keep this one to yourself for now. They get this thing called drives, where they pick 4 drives, and it's kind of like a checklist of things they want to achieve while they're doing it. And as they go through the game, they'll check them off, pick new ones, check them off, and they'll do things when they do so.
Okay.
I think it's better if the Beacon's keeping that one to themselves.
All right.
Okay, the Delinquent doesn't actually have a final section.
Nope.
Neither does the Nova.
I do.
Well, I do also.
Okay, the Protege. I'm actually going to adjust this slightly because of the opening story and Ronin's intervention. Traditionally, the last section of the Protege is choose up to 3 resources that your mentor gave you and the team. Because of Ronin's intervention and this, that, and the other, I'm going to up that to 4. There are going to be 4
resources for good storytelling, guys.
Yeah, basically. So the options you have are a hidden base, a vehicle, a supercomputer, communicators, which I suppose
Here.
that's the extra one. That's the extra one.
Yeah, yeah. Actually, I was gonna pick communicators regardless.
Communicators. Surveillance equipment, false identities, badges of authority, a chem lab, a med lab, a teleportal, a weapon of last resort, security systems, simple robots.
So first for us, definitely the communicators was definitely something that was given to us. Next was a supercomputer. Because it's like I kind of like I feel like when this happened and like the whole like we were established as a team, I made a list of things I felt we would need, and I went to every single one of you guys, and I feel like Null made like this hyper detailed of reason why he would want a computer. And Puck, they were like, I just really want a computer.
Yeah, she's like, I want a supercomputer. That's all I want.
Yeah, it was like both saying the same thing with a computer, but one was like super detailed the reason why, and you were just like, I just want a computer.
Well, how else do you access Dr. Twilight's like database if you don't have a computer?
So,
well, chances are that the actual supercomputer might have actually come from might actually be Twilight's old computer.
Oh,
Null handed you a printout of a
sort of
God box components.
I mean, I built this thing in the first place, so this was probably all right.
The way I see things, this is the way I'm imagining it, is that Midnight, Twilight, and probably Ronan probably have worked together a bit in the past because they're all the same age heroes, and there's going to be the crossovers.
Yeah.
Maybe they were the equivalent of the JLA there with appearances of Magna Carta as well, but etc. Plus a couple of other heroes, but they would have worked together. Now, the reason why Ronan was going, you guys have got to step up, is because Twilight disappeared a year ago, is probably dead. Now Midnight's out of action for at least a year. Magna Carta hasn't been around for a couple of years. It's just
Megawatt.
Most of the heroes of the city have fallen to the wayside in the past year.
I totally feel like Ronan, I definitely feel like Megawatt. It was the Superman of the city. Like they were the Superman, and because
Megawatt is Meta Warp's mom.
Like they were the Superman, and because like Megawatt is gone, everyone was like pulling extra weight, and then Dr. Twilight disappeared, and that was the Batman of the city. And it's like, oh, we are losing these heroes, and now Midnighter, who's considered like the Iron Man of the city, is now out of commission, and Ronan
Carter was Wonder Woman.
So it's like,
and Ronan is probably the Cap America.
Something like that. Yeah. So like
he's like, he's smart enough to know that he cannot do this all by himself. Plus a couple of other heroes which are out there, but probably not at the same power level of these other guys.
Yeah.
They're or not as experienced as these other guys. He knows that more people need to step up.
Yeah, that's definitely how I view it, and
it's probably the only reason he's letting you superhero in the first place.
That's probably it, because
like
the front line, because the front that too, yeah.
Oh no, this is now, we've been doing this for years now. It's time for you to step up.
Yeah, because the thing that I imagine is he's probably more protective because he's the one that's been with you the longest as opposed to Mum. But he's finally realised that the city needs you more than I need you.
Yeah. So definitely we got the supercomputer, communicators, a hidden base, definitely a hidden base.
Yes.
I feel
any ideas on what that should be.
The hidden base.
I have an idea.
All right, I want to hear your idea.
My idea is that when the city was first built, there was a massive subway network. During post-World War II, probably 70s-ish, they started transitioning to an overland monorail system. So the subway systems are still down there. A load of them were built and never used. Ooh. So what you've got is a subway which is kept clear, isn't used. Most of the entrances are blocked. Effectively, your hidden base is like 2 subway cars and a subway engine which can go around the city.
I like that.
Yep.
I really like that. Yeah, like our base is a repurposed but working subway car. Is like there are like 5 cars.
And given you don't have, huge transportation powers, with the exception of your individual portals, it will allow you to get to places you need to quicker.
Yeah, like we have access to all of like the subway lines under the city, and it's just basically this big moving base.
Yeah, I'll say it's 5 cars in total.
Yeah.
So you've got like a couple of the cars are going to be, 1 or 2 of the cars is going to be residential, with bunks and all that sort of stuff. One of them is going to be the back computer equivalent.
Yeah.
And then you've got a station which is your part of the primary hideout.
Yeah.
Which will have like training rooms and all that sort of stuff, but the non-critical stuff, but the critical stuff
moves
with the train.
And one other car of the train is the entertainment car.
Right.
Yeah.
Which is just a bunch of TVs.
Well, effectively, it's where you all hang out together.
Yeah. It's like the common space. It's like there's like TVs, there's video games, there's like all like these consoles hooked up to TVs.
So
one of those
back 2 will be residential.
Yes.
Back 2 will be residential. Middle one will be the communal area.
Yeah.
And then you'll have you're gonna have the
training.
Then you'd probably have the back computer / war room. With the table displays, and then up the front, then that you'll have the engine and probably supplies. Yeah, that's where you keep the suits.
That's where we keep everything at.
Null need a room where he can be the FBI and in a train underground, or that creepy surveillance van. Only in
that would be the / war room. Second,
yeah, that's that.
Yeah,
and for the last one,
so you're kind of getting a vehicle in there, but not quite because you're not exactly free roaming with
we're not free roaming. We just basically have a way that we can get
basically if stuff happens at the very edges of the city, your train can't get there because they stopped building it before the city sprawled out that far. So you're going to be able to get to the edge of to the old edge of the city, and then you're going to have to make your way.
And because of that, the last thing is a vehicle.
Rather than taking Uber?
Yeah, rather than taking Ubers.
Could you imagine trying to take an Uber as a superhero? Where do you need to go? Follow that car!
It's like because of the city it is, they probably has happened a bunch of times.
What are you thinking of as a vehicle?
I was thinking as a vehicle, it would be a simple motorcycle.
Well, I'm sorry. Actually, are you talking something for one person, or are you talking?
Oh, it'll be two. It'll be a 2-person ride. That will be a motorcycle and a sidecar. Because it's really more looking for the fact that
I'll tell you what, 3 bikes.
Oh,
3 bikes, which basically they like rack. They've got a special mechanism. They're like on the back of the train. 1, 2, 3. And when you get to the station, they basically come down, form a thing, and ride off. And that way, you can go pillion passenger, if necessary.
Okay.
You've got the 5 of you between the 3 bikes.
Okay. Here's my question. Can I have this? It's one Gestalt 3 bikes that launch out of the subway, and 3 people are riding it, and then they can separate into 3 individual bikes.
Yes.
Okay, so basically, it's kind of like the Teen Titans air vehicle, where it can split off.
I'm just imagining we're Power Rangers. And bikes are our Zords.
We'll have it so this vehicle has it so it can be formed into one vehicle, etc., but it can disengage into 3 bikes.
Yeah.
Obviously, there's space for all 5 of you to.
Exactly. Yeah. There's the big main hub of it where there's a big passenger in the back of it, like. So one person can be driving it, and there's a room there where like 1 or 2 people can be sitting in the back, and there's the 2 smaller bikes and 2 smaller sitting areas on the side that one person can sit on one side, another person can sit on the other side, and then it can disengage into 3 bikes with the 2 side pieces. Yeah, sidecars turned into their individual bikes.
Meta Warp just kind of looks at that and goes, "No thanks, rip," and just walks through a portal.
Yeah.
There may be times you might want to get on the bike as opposed to portal, but Okay, very, very cool. So
I totally feel like that bike is Phobos's happy place because he's always working on it.
Nice.
You're one of those guys.
Yeah, he's
Gotta
a
be
straight up
working on
gearhead.
grind.
Yo, I mean, like his shared ability is a power suit. So I mean, he knows his way around engineering.
Metalwarp
yeah.
got Phobos for their last birthday. Got them a copy of Zen and the Art of Motorcycle Maintenance.
Nice.
Yes.
Very cool. Okay, so that's the mentors' gifts to the team. Finally, we have the reforms, friends in low places. This one I'm going to leave to you, and you just tell me through Discord because you're not talking.
I
about
have them all. I can tell you right now. I figured it
Yeah,
out.
yeah, yeah. But what I'm saying is we're going to keep it from the rest of the party until it comes up in
Cool.
play.
There was something. Never mind. Well, we
Yeah.
can talk about it.
Yeah, talk to me about it in Discord. Plus, we're running out of time. And we've got a few city questions to ask.
I mean, everybody knows who one of them is anyway, because RoboPiercer is one of my friends in low places. So
Okay, so right, yeah, because we're getting close to time, aren't we?
Let me just do a quick round asking. How are we for time? Is it? Would you folks be good with going over a little bit, or do we have a hard stop at 10?
Does anybody have to go at have to go?
No.
Mm-mm.
No, I'm good.
Okay, cool. I'll try and get through it relatively quickly, but obviously I'm not going to stop you from being creative because it has given us so much joy this evening. Okay, so the city background. I'm going to read it out again. I know that you guys have read this little bit before. The city is a vast metropolis that now covers almost a quarter of the landmass of an island that 150 years ago did not exist. The official name of the city is New Eden, though it quickly garnered the moniker Doctropolis, a nod to the fact that it was a haven of research in all fields, and whenever it was mentioned in the news headlines, it would mention some doctor or another, including many of the city's villains and heroes. The brainchild of Dr. Otto Cole, a leader in the field of the social sciences, sole heir to a vast fortune, and the father of 4 children whom he lost during the First World War. Dr. Cole imagined a new country where peace and tolerance could thrive without the trappings of the past to interfere. He gathered the best minds he could find to help him in this endeavor from all over the world. He did, however, know that without adequate defense, this dream would be impossible to realize. He also did not have a location. And both of these problems were solved when he came up with the idea of inviting newly discovered heroes from around the globe to join them as citizens and the city's protectors. He actively sought out and came to agreements with heroes from 5 of the continents, for he wanted the new city to represent the world. 2 of these heroes, which you guys don't know, well, one of them was Magna Carta from Europe. Another one was called Rama, who was from Asia, specifically India, who basically was imbued with the powers of the triumvirate of Hindu gods. They were largely responsible for the creation of the island, with one of the other ones, but I haven't come up with the details for that. Cole tried to find a hero from Oceania, but the only ones he could find were either not interested in leaving their homeland or were British subjects attached to colonial rule, and obviously wouldn't represent the region. With the might of these heroes' powers, an island was raised in the middle of the Pacific Ocean and enchanted to slowly grow with the passage of time based on the needs of its people. At the close of the Second World War and the formation of the United Nations, the decision was made by the government of Doctropolis to offer the city as a centre for the newly formed organisation, with the goal that it would be the first country of many to fly under the banner of a united world. So, the headquarters of the United Nations is not in New York, it's in Doctropolis.
Okay.
So that's that. Okay, so this one you guys have already done some of. The first question is to create 3 of the adult heroes of the city. Well, we've got Midnight.
I think we've got more heroes.
We've got Ronin and we've got Twilight.
Yeah.
Okay, let's come up with a couple more.
We have the yet unnamed, possibly marked monarch hero from my backstory. I think I need to come up with a better name.
Because we need one, because no superhero team is without one.
Marked Monarch seems more like a name from the Golden Age rather than the more modern age, if that makes sense.
It could be a legacy though.
Yeah, it could be.
I'll come up with a better name.
A-
I
a
was thinking a tie-in with Magna Carta, which is why I wanted to go with Mark Minor.
Yeah, I will say it doesn't really fit in with Magna Carta, especially given that Magna Carta hasn't been around for a couple of years.
A speedster named Snapback.
Yes.
And like it's more so that his whole gimmick was that he can run at high speeds and he can instantly, and things called snapback because he can run at high speeds out to a distance and then instantly, if he wanted to, even at faster speeds, go right back to where he was.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So basically, he can keep running, so he can either go to where he's running to, or
Yeah.
instantly teleport to where he started.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay, that's cool. Okay, let's come up with one more. Anybody got any
Ursa
ideas?
Major.
Sorry?
Ursa Major,
Ursa Major.
representing the Russian steppes.
Ooh.
Okay. What sort of hero are we thinking here?
This is pure physical strength with an affinity towards animals.
Like the
Okay.
bull.
What if it's
Yeah.
like Hulk, and when he gets angry, he takes on more like bear-like features?
Yep. This guy goes full Kodiak grizzly or polar bear.
I love it.
Yeah. Like I feel like
Polar bear.
he just turns into a giant polar bear.
Okay,
Yeah.
what I'm imagining is, big Russian guy,
Yep.
etc., etc. But basically, when he starts calling on his powers, what happens is like a spiritual bear kind of emanates from him, and he kind of grows with it,
Yes.
and then sort of like, I mean,
Yep.
his appearance doesn't change hugely, but he's kind of got the shimmering bear.
Yep. And he's
Aura
got
around
he
him,
can do
and
the
he's got the
claw
extra
raking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Okay, that's cool. So we've got some extra heroes. Okay, now we need some more adult villains. Well, we've got the supremacy.
I had one that I've been bouncing in my head for the longest, and I
Yep.
think it's definitely a villain that probably Puck, Phobos, and maybe No have faced before. It was a cop that just doesn't like
Ooh.
heroes. He didn't like them at all. He hates them.
Sorry. Say that last bit again.
It's a cop that does not like heroes.
Yeah.
Okay, but is
Kind of
this just a cop that doesn't like heroes, who's important to some
Yeah.
organization, or is
So
it actually a proper supervillain?
Well, that's the thing is, it was formerly he was a cop that didn't like heroes.
So it's like a kind
He's
of a
an ex-cop.
lockdown situation.
Yeah, kind of like that.
Yeah.
Like he hates the concept of that heroes are taking jobs from him. So he became an ex-cop and decided to take the law in his own hands, kind of thing. But then because he was being so
I've got a name.
like my violence is my way or nothing else, he started being viewed as a villain, kind of thing. He was being viewed as a villain, less as a cop, and then became a villain.
So more like a Punisher type.
Yeah, like a very but instead of the Punisher just going after villains, he went after everyone.
Superhero. Yep.
Yeah,
He
went after
basically
everyone.
snapped.
Yeah, he just snapped and just went after everyone.
Nice.
You know?
Yeah, nobody's innocent type.
Yeah, nobody's in this type of thing. Yeah.
Okay, what about the blue line?
Oh wow!
Oh yeah.
Yes. I mean, I was gonna make some like really cheesy name like Boss Hog, but that's also really good.
That's good.
Oh my gosh!
we- Considering the supremacy as a supervillain team made up of other adult heroes,
At the
or
moment,
is
all you
the
know,
cloud AI is that the supremacy?
That's I think we said the AI is the surprise.
the way I
Yeah.
see it is, you don't know.
Yeah.
because
That's the problem.
in theory we have my character's parents who are supervillains.
Yes.
I think all we've heard is
What do you
it's
come up
is
with
it's.
names for?
I think all we've heard it say is we are the supremacy part probably.
Yep.
So we're not sure.
All
if
you know
it's,
the supremacy is
yeah.
the thing you fought,
Yeah.
and you know that there's more to it than that.
Yeah.
Yeah, we don't. Yeah, we just like all it said was supremacy. So we in our minds like, oh yeah, you're the supremacy, and like the supremacy. And this guy's like, no, I'm not. Nope, you're the supremacy.
But then, Noel noticed the serial numbers and realized this was one of many drones. So whether the supremacy is the drone or whatever made the drones or something else, you don't know.
So we also have Robo Piercer, who in my head is actually a robot.
I keep thinking of the robot from The Incredibles that Syndrome made with the piercing. Like it had like the
claw on one hand, drill for the other hand.
Yeah, then it had like the vacuum tubing for limbs, and it was like a ball.
Yes.
Yeah.
So basically, did we just make what's the hamster from Overwatch into a supervillain? I think it's like
a hamster.
Oh, what if Robo Piercer is being piloted by a tiny, like, super intelligent animal?
A super intelligent gerbil.
Yes.
I was gonna say mouse.
It's being piloted. Robo Piercer is being piloted by like some super intelligent like animal.
Okay, well, yeah, I was
my
saying
God.
mouse is what I heard Black Raven say, so we're going to go with mouse because it's.
But I like this idea.
Yeah.
Okay,
Oh my
so
God.
basically, Robo Piercer, robot with the bits, powered by super intelligent. Obviously,
Our enemy is the
somebody
brain.
in a lab did an experiment on a mouse and it went bad.
Yes,
putting
that's
it
the villain's
lightly.
origin story.
So what you're saying is Pinky and the Brain finally are taking over.
Yeah,
the
this
world.
is what
Yeah.
happens when.
Yes.
This is what happens. This is what happens when you take Pinky in the Brain and do what they did with the Chilling Tales of Sabrina.
Yes.
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 I should not have been drinking when you said that.
What do you want to do, brain?
Same thing we do every day, Pinky. Take over the world.
Awesome.
I
do it
really
every
don't
single
want
time.
there to be two mice in my.
Yep, it's gonna have two
One
mice
who
now.
is.
And that would explain why they never actually achieve it, is because of the dissonance between the two mice.
Oh my God.
Because they're not neurally linked. They're not drift compatible.
Yeah.
Wait. I have an even better idea. Because they were experimented on, what if it's a two-headed mouse? Where one of them is like Pinky level of
my God.
intelligence and one is brain level intelligence. I'm kind of also thinking Eaton, the two-headed like giant from
Yeah,
Dungeons and Dragons. I don't know if I have the name right.
Okay, let's get into more of the actual city now. We've got some bits and pieces there. What we need to do is pick some descriptors which describe the city as a whole. It's similar to the describing the city from Bad Streets, Jim, from when you played it.
Yeah.
So, some descriptors that I've written down. You're not limited to these. These are just things that I came up with while I was writing. Is retro future, neon, nightlife, gothic, rainy, endless summer. The future is now.
I think it's always springtime. It's weather
Kinda like
controlled.
the idea
It's
of
climate
you-
controlled.
Because I did have this thing that there would be like this barrier about a couple of miles out
Oh,
from the
yeah.
city, which basically stopped the rough seas in the middle of the Pacific, which have always
Yeah.
been going, and calmed it down. So we can say that that basically results in like an almost perpetual spring.
What if it's
Yeah.
more neon, even though it's always spring? But there are like at least a district in the town where it is like neon cyber.
Oh.
You can pick
Oh,
more
night
than one
has to fall
descriptor.
sometime.
The idea is to pick multiple descriptors. The idea is to build up.
I just
a
immediately
general
went to
feel.
Shadowrun in my head. Is basically what
See,
happened.
I'm getting heavy Bioshock vibes from this.
So
Yeah.
more of a retro future.
Yeah, because
kinda
I
like
feel
that.
like
The
especially
circus
with
of fun. Oh.
especially with Malcolm Moore, who's like this technological industrialist.
So steampunk.
Yeah, it's very like
Okay, are we talking more steampunk? Or are we talking retro future, more like
Like-
Fallout?
I think of like a retro,
Some more
Future.
diesel punk.
yeah, like a retro future kind of thing. Especially also the fact that it
So-
was made in World War II.
Mad Max.
Well, it was made after World War One, but a lot
Yeah.
of the stuff happened.
So
after
like,
World War
since
II
it
when
was
the
after
United
made after
Nations
World
got
War
involved.
One, the aesthetic stayed that way, but the technology thrived.
So very Art Deco, but futuristic.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, that's cool.
Art Deco
I'll
aesthetic.
I'll put Art Deco down as a descriptor. Obviously, there'll be sections of the city which have different vibes and all that sort of stuff. I'm just talking as an overall. If somebody who didn't live in Doctropolis and had never been got asked describe Doctropolis, what would their answer be? Like, if somebody had never been to Chicago, how would they describe Chicago? That sort of thing.
Yeah.
So does this mean we have police blimps? Because that would be very delightful.
I
Like in the Batman
think,
animated series.
I think there will be either police blimps or paladin blimps,
Oh, nice.
Why not both?
or both.
I feel like there'd definitely be
Can
paladin
I
blimps.
can I pose a question? Is this like Arkham City from like the Batman video games where there's a bunch of tall buildings, or is it more of like, are there skyscrapers, or is it more of a flat city?
I got to picture it kind of like Batman the Animated Series, where it's like, yeah, this is a modern city, but why is everyone wearing suits and fedoras?
Yeah.
And why
so
are there like modern cars, but everything looks like it's the 1950s?
Yeah, so we've got the skyscrapers, we've got the things, we've got the
It goes well with the monorail.
Art Deco look.
Like the fact that they
monorail.
just made a monorail is a big deal to them.
Yes, exactly. It looks kind of like the Disney monorail to an extent. It's
Yeah.
But instead of being just the monorail, we're talking the Sonic trains and the bullet trains in Japan. So
Yeah.
yes, we just got a monorail, but this thing's supersonic.
Okay, just so the way I imagined it is with the monorail, there's two pedestrian lines of the monorail, but they basically form circles. One is like an outer circle, which feeds that with trains going clockwise and counterclockwise on two rails, and then you've got another circle which goes inside the city.
Yeah.
And basically the stations, it's like a minute tops between each station.
Yeah.
So you can do the full lap of the entire city, like
See, I'm seeing like a lot of
20
chrome
minutes.
about for a lot of the different.
Okay, and then you've got another
things, yeah.
monorail system, which is more of a fan system, which feeds through all the various industrial districts throughout the city and starts in the port.
Yeah.
So basically, those monorails feed the industrial cargo, zipping backwards and forwards, carrying cargo to and from the port, the port district of the city.
Yeah.
That's how I've imagined it.
I can see that. Like, there's a monorail just made just for work, and there's a monorail that moves people around the city.
Nice.
Okay, so we've got a general impression of things. Okay, who really controls Doctropolis?
So
We've got the options that I've got down here is organized crime, the mayor's office, the UN, the main heroes, which is less likely given how they've all disappeared, a secret cabal, paladin, or corporate culture.
So
Paladin.
I have a suggestion. What if we are actually just a tiny resistance movement now that all of the major superheroes have basically been taken out? And there seems to be far more villains in Doctropolis. And it's our job, maybe with Paladin, maybe not with Paladin, to try to keep the supervillainy to a minimum.
So what I'm getting from that is that basically the city is falling, the city's control is falling to the villainous aspect.
Or, yes. Or is very close to the...
Hasn't actually got there, but basically they're getting people in positions of power.
So that's the thing where it's like encroaching secret cabal, but there's another element that
how do we know
they're
that
taking
Paladin
it from.
isn't involved? What if they've
Paladin
been
could be
infiltrated
involved.
Paladin at this point?
I feel like a secret cabal makes a lot of sense because so many of the frontline villains are gone, frontline heroes are gone, and they're like, all right, Megawatt has left Earth.
Okay, so
like Magna Carta is gone. It's our time to start taking
Paladin
things
has
over.
become less and less effectual.
Yeah.
I mean that. Okay, so we've got the options. Is Paladin being? The question is Paladin being infiltrated, or is Paladin's affections being cut down? Because even though they're trying, but for various reasons, they're just not able to do their job. For example,
what
funding.
If Paladin was
column A,
never a
column
good
B.
organization?
Sorry.
What if Paladin was never a good organization? What if it was always run by a supervillain, unbeknownst
Like
to all the heroes?
Kind of a Hydra situation.
Yeah. Like, what if Paladin was this secret cabal this whole time, or
So
like
okay.
yeah,
I'm not going to tell you exactly how this works because obviously you want some mystery about the city.
Yeah.
But I'm taking everything you guys are throwing out, and I'm going to take bits and pieces.
I mean, our characters really wouldn't know.
yeah, we would know.
Okay, if you asked a person on the street who runs the city, with this, it's probably going to be the answer is probably going to be the mayor's office, the UN, corporate culture, or maybe even the heroes.
I think the mayor's office. I think they will
Yeah.
say that the mayor's office runs things because obviously because like
the
they don't
average
believe. Yeah,
The average citizen will say the mayor's office. The conspiracy theorist is going to tell you that it's the UN.
Yeah.
yeah. It
And-
depends, but like average Joe will say the mayor. But like
Mhm.
depending on who you ask, you may get like something will say, oh,
Corporate
well,
culture.
like corporate culture is runs things, or there
We are
is.
making Shadowrun.
The way I've always seen it is, the way I've seen it is that the way it's always worked since the UN arrived is while this country isn't the UN, it's kind of like a mutually beneficial cooperation between the two.
Yeah,
Yeah, because the idea of the city was to become, this truly unified country, representing the world. And that's kind of what the UN's trying to do. So they're both trying to help each other for the purpose of, that goal, even though, they are distinct.
yeah.
That was what I was thinking. Yeah, obviously things can be subverted and all that sort of stuff based on your input. Okay, right. And here's one where we get to ask each of you a question. I'd like each of you in turn to give me a point of interest in the city. Jim.
Yeah. Let's see. So there's a tower that's kind of somewhere near city center, a transit tower, and it's like a main hub for a lot of the for basically a lot of it's got like, so when the Empire State Building was built, it was meant to have a dirigible landing area. This has that kind of at the top, and also has intersections in the tower itself for the main monorails.
Oh, it has
yeah, that's good.
monorail stations.
Yeah.
Oh, so
Oh.
Grand Central
So-
Station above 200 stories up.
Yes.
So what basically happened is they realized they couldn't build the monorail properly right in the core of the original city. So they built this tower up to bring the monorail in and then have the other bits involved in it.
Yeah.
I like that.
So
I-
it's basically
now
where a lot of
envision-
people come and they yeah.
Multiple towers, but this is like the main hub.
Yeah.
There'll probably be other ones which do similar things, but they're a lot smaller. Whereas this one, is
The shining
it's
beacon
part of the
is down.
skyline.
Oh.
It's that big that if you did a silhouette of the skyline, that building would be in it. Okay, next on the list would be Puck. Give us a point of it.
I was thinking there could be this maybe even triple decker, like massive sprawling bookstore with like big plush comfortable chairs and patios for people to go in. They have like a news section. They have a giant section of used book where it's like 10 cents for the soft covers, 50 cents for the hard covers, and it's like the big gay bookstore.
I like that. And that's what it's called too. It's called the Big Gay Bookstore.
Yeah, it's got
Yeah.
all the flags in front.
Yeah,
Yes.
I
I like that. I like that.
Okay, Metal Warp.
Because this is an island, correct? That was built.
It is, yes.
It was built on geothermal vents. So just offshore, say within the sphere, within the bubble, but a fairly safe distance, is a semi-active, like volcano type island.
Yep.
That is is that stress valve for those geothermal vents.
Should we say there's also a geothermal power plant there?
Yes, that's where the power plant is. It's separate. It's off the city. off the island, off the main island. So it's this, and every so often they have to go in and clean out all of the villains who wanted to build their lair on the volcano. It's like, no, guys, you can't build your lair here. Go away, because we all want you. We all know you want your.
It's like
lair in the
every
volcano.
spring when you got to clear out the shed with all the spiders.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. But it's also, I like that Delphi.
Oh, that's a
Park.
good name for it. Yeah.
Yeah,
Mm.
but it also
Oh,
because
okay.
of,
I'll just say it for the camera. The Delphi Power Company.
but part of the because of its mini climate that it has, it also has these beautiful, lush tropical gardens. So you've got your geothermal power stand, and then there's this lush tropical gardens. It's kind of like a vacation area.
Okay. Yep. Cool. That sounds fantastic. Okay, Phobos. Point of interest.
There is a stadium called the Moore Stadium, and it was built by Malcolm Moore's father. And it was originally just a stadium just used for basic. It was just used stadium, just a normal football stadium. But then when Malcolm,
Oh, I've got an idea.
when Malcolm
How about
took over as it, he added so much technology to it that it became a stadium that can be used for any kind of sporting event. And there's like the field, it just transforms out its own using like a mix of like nanotechnology and robots to rebuild the entire stadium to either be a football field, a baseball field. It will dome itself into a basketball stadium. It will like undome itself to become like a concert venue. It's a place where every single kind of large spectator event can be held there.
Okay. How about this? The original building of it was to house the Olympics.
Yes, yeah. It was one of like the first ever Olympics being held in Doctropolis was held there.
We'll say that's only held it once, but this was built for that.
I would call it the Astrodome, but he will call it the Moore Dome because
Yeah,
Well, considering
it was originally called the Astrodome, but when Malcolm took over the family's business and he rebuilt it, he called it the Moore Dome because he is that egotistical.
Yep.
I think more stadium.
Oh yes, more stadium.
More
Yes.
stadium.
More stadium.
Yeah.
More stadium. Yeah.
Because you get more stadium with our
Get more
stadium.
and the also
Yeah.
it also houses one of the largest food courts.
I think
ever.
that has to be it, isn't it? You get more with
Yeah.
more tech.
Exactly, and that's his big like catchphrase. Like whenever like there's like any kind of like technological like expo, he's there, and at the end of it, he says, "Remember, you'll always get more with more tech." That's like his
Doctropolis
whole-
has got to be like the warmest possible city that also has a hockey team.
yes.
Yeah.
Like, and that's the thing about Doctropolis. They
Well,
have
it'd
a
be like
team
Jamaica
for-
having a bobsleigh team.
Exactly. Yeah. They have a team for every sport. They even have their own esports team.
Yes.
Probably several, given different games. You know.
Yes.
One of them is just null.
Yeah, one
Yeah,
of them is
basically. Yeah.
and Null probably tried out to be on one of those teams many
Yeah.
times.
I was probably it's like I almost made it. Damn it!
Okay, and
Contender.
let's get on with
So close.
Let's get on with a point of interest from Black Raven.
So, I'm imagining that Black Raven's family is super rich because super villain trope, I guess.
Yep.
I don't know exactly how they've made their money. Maybe real estate. Maybe something else. I need to ponder that. But I also think they kind of their estate, wherever it is in the city, whatever district it is, it's kind of like Neverland Ranch. It's kind of like there's amusement rides that the public come in to have fun, that kind of thing. So the Hutchinson Estates is also an amusement park because we own probably.
So I have a question. Because the Hutchinson Estates is also being used as like an amusement park for the city, is it well known that the Hutchinsons are supervillains?
not by face. I think we all wear masks. Like, you might have put 2 and 2 together.
Everybody, okay, how about this? Everybody knows it's the Hutchinsons, but nobody can prove it's the Hutchinsons.
Yeah.
They've never been busted.
And I definitely dodged questions about this one.
Okay. I'll just say that's the way, that's just an idea and stuff. Okay, so we've got some point of interests. Okay, now I'm going to go through each of you again, and I want to know what it is about the city that your character loves. And the next question will be hates. Okay, so I'll tell you what. If you've got an idea, pipe up, because I can see a lot of you are in thought.
I know what Ezekiel hates. He hates more stadium.
But I was thinking.
Should we just say it's basically the overabundance of more advertising?
Yeah, that's what it is. He hates he hates the overabundance of more in Doctropolis, and he hates whenever more products, any kind of more shopping districts are cause gentrification in the old towns of
He
Doctropolis.
can't handle any more.
Yeah, he cannot handle any more.
He wants no more.
Yeah, he wants no more, and that leads to what he likes. He likes the old towns.
What the fuck, guys? Come on.
The old towns of the city. He likes the old looking areas.
The original.
Yeah, he
center.
likes those. Like, he will walk around those areas. Like, even though some of those areas might be considered sketchy by people, he loves walking around those areas.
Because there's a lot of the city which has been built to look Art Deco.
Yeah.
But there's a load of it that was actually built.
Yeah, like, he likes those areas. He doesn't like he enjoys the places that look Art Deco, but he likes the places that legit are the original parts of the city.
Anybody else?
Yeah, Puck absolutely loves the nightlife. They are out in the club until late at night. They know all the people at the club. They're regular. They go bar hopping. They like the fact it's a vibrant place.
Do you take Black Raven with you? Please
Yes.
tell me. Yes. I feel like that's our thing. Well,
Club
we
house.
need to go blow off steam. We go to the club.
Yeah.
And
Do you have anything they specifically dislike?
Puck doesn't like the cops.
Okay.
Fuck the po-pos.
And also, in their mind, this is a city full of superheroes. We don't need cops.
Yeah. Oh man, I think that's the reason.
That's going to get you in trouble with.
I
some
think that's the
people.
reason why we have fought we have probably fought Blue Line a lot then. Definitely me and you, we have probably fought Blue Line many times in the past.
Yes. Fuck the police.
Anybody else?
I got one. I absolutely hate the family estate, which is also why I ran away from home and was homeless for a while.
Okay. Do you have a love?
So I imagine that the estates is near the neon sector, the more cyberpunk area of the city, which is probably the group of outcasts, probably where I lived in my car at some point, because I also imagine Black Raven is probably on the older end of teenage, 17 or 18, possibly 19.
Well, you're all going to be between 16 and 20, so. Okay, I've seen Kat that you've seemed to have an answer ready.
Yeah. Meadowwarp likes the tropical gardens on the power station island because it's alien compared to the rest of Doctropolis.
Okay,
And
cool.
It's given that they are in grayscale, the color there appeals to them.
Just a sea of color.
Just to see, it's just vibrant, this vibrant color. Plus, there's that energy that comes off of the power station, which they can kind of feel almost there's an affinity towards just power energy like that.
Okay, that's cool. Is
been
there something they don't
there.
like?
They don't like the industrial area.
Okay, are we talking about the actual factory area or more the
Yes.
port?
The actual
okay.
factory area. Again, if you think about the Industrial Revolution and that what you did with the brick and the grime and everything like that. Yeah.
That's
Not
cool.
like the
Okay,
industrial
that just
area.
leaves Null.
So I've been thinking about this. So things that he loves about the city. There is an appreciation, wealth of knowledge, and a desire to conserve it. Not just with the massive bookstores and the and library resources, but also museums to an extent. I feel like there's an automotive museum he's probably spent a decent amount of time in. Things where it's like it's very much you're very much encouraged to have this hands-on, learn how to build things, learn how to communicate to deal
I've
with
got the
things.
city's love of knowledge.
Yes, the city's love of knowledge.
Given that's part of why it was built in the first place. It was a research hub and all that sort of stuff. Okay, what about dislike?
What he dislikes is kind of in some ways connected to his family. So his mother left some time ago, and his father and his siblings are kind of more on this path that is with Hagen Tech and certain things where it's basically there's a certain amount of utilitarianism that has been creeping in that is kind of almost that is seen throughout. Kind of also there's this Brave New World thing that happens as a result of kind of an ethos that the city kind of has, where it's like, okay, you are going to happily march along this path for your life, because this is how you're going to be most useful in building our future. And it's not like a dystopia in that respect, necessarily. It's not like, it's not that overbearing. But there are strong, I think, leanings for that make it so that it's like, yes, you have access to this knowledge, but we want you very specifically, you must go here. Yeah.
I've put the presence of expectations.
Presence of expectations, yes. And he feels that both on a city level and on a family level, because it's kind of there's a bit of friction between him and his siblings about maybe one of them knows or has an inkling and don't want him to be a superhero, but he's like, I gotta be a superhero. And so it's a major kind of issue for him.
Okay, here's a communal question for you. A part of the city is still being rebuilt after a natural disaster. No supers were involved. What is it, and how does it affect the city?
Ooh.
Could it be volcano related somehow?
I was actually thinking volcano related.
Yeah, I was thinking volcano related.
Are we on an arc, as it turns out? A volcanic arc?
I was also going to say, like, some bad geothermal venting somewhere. That probably leveled a skyscraper.
You know what? And just because you mentioned Hagen Tech, I feel like there's like this constant standoff between Moore and Hagen on who will get the contract to fix this destruction. That's why it hasn't been fully fixed yet, because there's this constant bidding war between.
Well, the only issue here is that we've already deciphered that the volcano is off the main island a bit.
True.
So if there was a disaster, it would be more a case of fixing the power infrastructure.
Well,
So that's what it is. There was a disruption in the power infrastructure between the power plant and the island.
So we're still getting basically, brownouts and stuff because they haven't quite managed to get the power under control.
Yeah.
Because they're they're using this as an excuse as a reason to update the system as well, because it's quite old.
Yeah, and I feel like there is this bidding war.
I love that idea.
Hardcore bidding war between Moore and Hagen.
And you've got the fact that Moore got contracts in one part of the city to do some of it. Hagen got bits in the other, and when they meet, they nobody wants to take responsibility.
Oh,
they wanna play-
man.
You've got
What
that
if-
shuttle
results-
situation?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What if like Moore and Hagen's rivalry goes back even further?
Their
to
dads, their
like
dads
their
are.
dads go even back, kind of
Absolutely.
like how in Team Fortress there was red and blue. That's
Yeah.
basically what they are. They're like the
I love
equivalent
it.
of because there are always gonna be butting heads over stuff.
I
And-
like the idea that
yeah.
sort of with more is like it was like more was born into us with Hagen's criticism. And more is like, you were born into this. We built this ourselves.
Yeah.
kind of deal.
And like Moore's like argument is like, yeah, and
No, we just got our shit together earlier in history. What are you talking about?
Okay. That's pretty much all the questions I was definitely going to ask. But other than, is there anything else you think we should add to the city?
I think there should be a very good fish place.
yeah, you gotta have a good
That'd be
fish
good,
place.
yeah.
A noodle
Gotta
We're on
place.
an
You have
island,
to have a
too.
noodle shop too.
There's probably
support.
good versions. I mean,
Can we have a
to give you an
diner?
idea of scale, the island / the city houses 10 million people.
Oh man, there
It
better
is
be a
a
noodle.
big place.
All right.
Let's talk if
Probably-
there's only the one fish place and they all
Yeah.
There's a Chinatown, and there's
Yeah,
probably
there-
districts for every like country in the world.
Yeah, quite
Probably
possibly. There is no discrimination whatsoever on immigration. It is purely a criminal background check to make sure criminal elements aren't coming in.
How do
Yeah,
I-
so how do we have the criminal elements if
Well, obviously, their immigration is as good as our country's
Exactly.
immigration.
Exactly.
also
There's your reasoning.
I mean,
And
it's kind of a
also,
low bar.
In a world,
at this
in a
point.
world where criminals can turn themselves invisible when they step on the plane.
Yeah. Oh man, I totally now because of like there's probably that one good noodle shop that they all go to.
Yep.
And it's like that one good noodle shop and like that's like
Well,
But
we
like-
already know that there's a fast food place that
Yeah.
does
Right.
chili
Chili
fries.
cheese.
but there is like definitely there's like a fast food place that there's a #1 fast food chain that has the best chili fries ever.
can it be
Wendy's.
like
Yeah, oh yeah, like Wendy's. Yes.
Starbucks and it's on every corner?
More bucks.
Oh, there is
God.
one. This might be a joke for
God.
one person and maybe another person who's possibly watching. The chief of police is a Chief Clyde Ho.
Oh my god.
Oh no.
Oh no,
So
that's some deep lore.
I love it. I love it. I have an idea, Mole.
Congratulations, Nino.
This is a city that is
Oh
10
my
million
God.
people. Okay.
Yeah,
But
10 million.
It has
It tells me so
limits.
much about the police force.
So just like with the there's something trivial fact about the Galapagos Islands is you cannot move to the Galapagos Islands unless you are a citizen of the Galapagos or you marry a citizen of the Galapagos Islands.
Right.
So okay. So immigration has always been open. Now immigration is starting to be restricted. You cannot there's only so much up you can build.
Okay,
There's only
what-
so much out you can build.
I'll say that due to the issues with the power and the geothermal and all that sort of stuff, they're not able to expand the city at the rate that they've been able to in the past. So at the moment, while they're not denying people based on any grounds other than, hey, we're kind of full.
Yeah.
And I'll also say, which plays into that something that's cropped up in the past few years, which has led into the whole thing of now we need to slow down, is a section of the city is effectively longboats, disused yachts, and all that sort of like strapped together with big dock moorings. They're not functional boats anymore, but they're kind of like a micro city in and of themselves, where you've got boats which have been turned into shops, you've got boats which have been turned into houses. And
Almost
it's
like a
all
mini
on the water,
floating.
just off the
It's a
edge.
floating neighborhood.
Yeah, it's attached to the land by a series of docks, but
Right.
it spoils out for like a mile in each direction from this central dock, and it's just boats upon boats. And it's just like turned into a sprawling.
I like to think that's where the
Area.
greatest noodle shop is at.
That is where the
Yes.
greatest noodle shop is.
It's one of those boats,
in
and the
the
thing is,
rocks.
it always sails out. So like, I think like unless you grew up on the streets, so like probably myself, Puck, and Black Raven know when that boat comes back into dock, and so you can get the best noodles ever created in the
Because
world.
you cannot get there by rail.
You can't.
have
No,
to
you
walk.
can't.
This
You
is
have
right
to
on the
walk.
edge. Like I said, you got the two circles, and the subway is even less than that larger circle.
Yeah.
But
You
this
have
is on
to
the
go
outside
by
of that
car.
circle.
You have to go
Yeah.
by
Foot.
foot, fly, etc.
And I think that we go there, we're in masks because, if we went there like as normal citizens,
So we're
then
getting
everyone, yeah, pretty much.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Nice.
Okay, despite being such a popular noodle place, this is still just this one small boat.
Yeah. It's popular in the fact that unless you know,
Yeah.
You have to be in the know to
you have to be because
Those
it
old
only
wall
comes.
places.
There is a legend on the streets that
Yeah.
most everybody's heard in some regards that there's this legendary noodle shop.
I get the
But
feeling like Puck told us about it, or like
very
Black Raven
few
or Puck
people-
told us about it.
Very few people actually know it actually
Yeah.
exists,
Yeah.
or where it actually is.
Yeah, Puck is the only one in the group who actually knows exactly where and
Yeah.
when to be to grace everybody with the presence of the world's greatest noodles.
Like I get the feeling like there was like one day we're all like hanging out in one of the common cars, and you just kick down the door. He's like, noodles. I'm like, what? We're going to get noodles.
Follow me, losers!
Do we have?
Yeah,
Okay.
Are we like Venice, where we have canals? So there's.
I don't imagine a huge canal network because of it being a solid island.
Okay.
But, I mean, you got a Venice element of from the raft district where it's all on the water.
Cool.
But I mean, there's probably a couple of big canals and stuff because that would have been how they would have shipped cargo
Into the
back
city.
in the 20s before
Yeah.
the monorail was built. The subway would have been the pedestrian thing, and they would have used canal boats or lorries to transport cargo until
Then
the
they
monorail.
backfilled.
Yeah, so they probably used the canals, either filling it in or just building over the top, building the pillars out of it to build the monorail lines for the docks.
Yeah.
Because they were doing the same lines. But yeah, we're pretty much done there. I mean, there's a few bits and pieces we've got to do before next week. But
This has been amazing.
This has been amazing.
Awesome.
Yeah. I'm really excited for this.
So next week we're going to have Volume 1, Issue 1 of Doctropolis, Rebels with a Cause.
Excellent. Excellent. All right. Well, I guess then all that's left, if we're good, is we shall go around once again and do our outros. Feel free to say where folks can find you and also any thoughts that you had about this session. And any final thoughts? And we will start with going back the other way. We will start with Mole.
Okay, I'm going to say this now. What I'd like people to add into their closing bit. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Highlight of tonight.
Oh yeah.
Oh shit! How do I choose just one?
Yeah, it's kind of
But
hard
no,
for tonight.
I'm Molthulu. You can find me at Molthulu everywhere. Yeah, Twitch, Twitter, blah 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 blah. The only thing I'm going to promo is my daughter. Everybody knows her as Pup. She's adorable. People love her. Has outgrown her bed. I need to buy her a new one. So if you fancy helping, stick by my coffee. Pop by my coffee, which is attached to my Twitter and stuff. See how
this child a race car bed. Let's go.
The one we really want to get her is it's a mid-sized one, so it comes up to like kind of your waist, but it's got a tenting around the bottom so she can play in it, and then it's got a little bit which turns into a slide which can come down from it and all that stuff. That's the one if we can get the money, but we're basically going to get what we can get when we can get it because money's tight. But yeah, I'm actually I want you to come back to me after you lot have gone with the highlights before I say mine because I think it's only fair.
Sure, absolutely. Then let's go over to Thtrnerd.
Hi, I'm Thtrnerd. You can find me everywhere at Thtrnerd. Actually, there's some numbers and stuff. I'm tired. I've had a long week already. I get it's Wednesday. I've had a long couple of weeks. I won't get into that here. The next place you can see me, well, I'm starting a game of Blades in the Dark that I will try to remember to tweet, but I'm also running the game, and that may not be my priority. But Blades in the Dark is built on a system very similar to this, with the way there is misses, successes with consequences, and full hits, basically. It's a very similar system. So I'm very excited to do that. I've wanted to play it since before it actually came out. I'm also playing a Call of Cthulhu game every other Monday. So next week we won't be on, but the following week we will be on Monday nights over at Uncanny Adventures. Maybe I'll get back to streaming my own stuff, but probably not anytime soon with 3 shows and another one that I'm doing offline. I think that's everything.
Awesome. And any highlight you want to?
Sorry. Yes, tired. Ready. Probably
no
going to
problem.
hit my pillow and pass out. I'm really excited for Puck and Black Raven shenanigans. Like, I also feel guilty that I threw them under the bus. But I think it'll be good character stuff. Because I don't know if they know, but I also want them to forgive me. Maybe they figured it out. We can discuss that, because we still need to figure out our great shenanigans.
Yes, we do.
Yeah, that's what I'm excited about.
Awesome. And let's then head over to Wally.
Hello, my name is Wally. You can find me on the Twitter at Wally132. I really don't have anything to promo right now. You know what? Give me next week. I'll have something to promo then. It'll be something pretty awesome. Definitely a highlight of this week's game. I am very much looking forward to, because I've never made such an angsty character before, and I'm really looking forward to all this internal conflict that he has building up inside of him, especially with the relationship he has with Metawarp, because that's going to be very interesting how this is going to play out. Yeah.
Very cool. Very cool. Yeah, I can't wait to see this, all of this go on. And now let's move over to Pepper.
All right. Well, you can find me on Twitter at MeBeThem4815. I have nothing to promo at the moment. This is my first swing back into the world of role playing and live streaming since my move. And you can find me on Twitter, and my highlight for the evening. Oh, geez. I definitely have to say establishing the whole Black Raven Puck shenanigan was pretty fun, but also the fact that Null and Puck teamed up to take down Midnight at the end. Because I'm imagining it was just kind of like this instant spur of the moment, not fueled by 90% panic and 10% spite kind of a thing.
I keep on picturing, like, when it happened, like, Phobos is like, yes, do it.
There's this whole additional context on it, since now if he knows that I'm Hagen's kid, so much. But that was truly awesome. That was. And finally, over to Kat.
Hi, I'm Kat. I am a cleric of Cord. I play games on the internet with my friends. You can find me tomorrow night over with at Wandering DM's channel playing Masks, doing session 0 there with Pope World Build and Deidre Dolan, with Simon, and with Little Nerd is our GM. Then on Friday from 2 to 5 Eastern, I will be on Encounter Roleplay for our penultimate episode of Back on the Block, Judge Dredd, the World of 2000 AD. If you haven't been following us along, it's getting interesting. And we have a judge named Tetley who is a corgi, because he's the best. He's the goodest boy and the goodest judge.
I really wish I would have watched it all the time. That warms my little heart. By the way, Corby,
they are available on YouTube and on the VOD at Encounter Roleplay. Then let's see. I don't have anything coming up again till Sunday. Encounter Roleplay is doing a meat grinder with the Killer GM. We're raising money for Wires Australia. He's going to be putting his players through this incredible maze, and it's going to be a lot of fun. But again, the whole idea is to raise money for Wires Australia. That'll be at 3 p.m. Eastern. So if you're not doing anything on Sunday, please stop by, give us a view, and maybe donate a little bit. And then I'll be back here on Wednesday. My favorite part, I loved the way we all came together to build that event, that fight with the supremacy and getting Midnight involved and all of that, just creating that whole event together, adding little bits and pieces until it became a whole, was just, I love that. It was like taking a Rubik's Cube and then just everybody making a twist or a turn until finally, boom, you had the completed cube. I loved it.
It was nice.
This is going to be a lot of fun.
I think so too. I'll go ahead and give my my highlight, so that Mole, you can give yours, but I won't do my full outro yet. What I'll say is that I did love the way that we sort of built this mythology together and just had things cross over. I loved I love sort of the way that we now kind of have the superhero pantheon set in the city, largely absent, and I'm going to be very interested to see as we dig in and find out what's the whole mystery at the center of the city now that we have there's a secret cabal there, and so that's going to be very cool to check out. And that's my highlight. And Mole, did you want to go ahead and give yours?
Yeah, I'll just say my highlight was just watching you guys create one of the most amazing origin stories I've heard of. They could make a movie out of that. Out of the complexity of what's involved with that. Obviously, they need to spin out and tell the rest of the story, but that event is worthy of some big screen production. I loved it, and you've given me so much to torment you with later.
Oh gosh!
Yes, we have.
Oh yeah.
One of my skills as a player is I like to hand my DMs a drawer full of knives.
And just
I like to consider them gifts to my GM.
Yeah.
Just so you know, we're not stopping at session 0 with you guys throwing things out and building the world and all that sort of stuff. I will be asking you loads of stuff later about what gets involved. So you're gonna have plenty more of opportunities to screw yourselves over. Don't worry.
Excellent.
That's what I like to hear.
I feel like that's my playbook in a nutshell. I get to come up with villains you get to torment me with later.
And Jim, thank you for the grayscale.
You are so welcome. Well, once again, I'm Jim Ryan. You can find me at Otherdoc on both Twitch and Twitter. My website is jimyesthatjim.com, where you can find my Geek Observation podcast and links to my various other podcasts, audio dramas, writings, and such. I've got new revamped links down below to my website, Twitter, YouTube channel, some of my fiction and games I've been working on and posting on itch, along with links to game signups and applications to join our Discord. Finally, I'm opening that up a little. There's an application process because it's still invite only, but if you want to come in, go ahead and fill that out, and we'll talk. But what stuff do we have coming up? I'm really excited to get to this. But let's see. Coming up Saturday is our regular Invisible Sun campaign. They finally took out the Seeker of Souls last time, which was a major monster that had been terrorizing folks. And now there is Fallout. So we'll see how that goes this weekend. I believe we have another guest as well. On Sunday, now normally on Sundays we do one-shots. That's going to start up again next month. But this Sunday evening, we will have the premiere of our Dark Matter campaign that'll be happening here. We're going to be doing a little tale that we've twisted a little bit and are calling Ghosts of Saltmaw. We're taking Ghosts of Saltmarsh and putting it in space. So that, of course, uses the Dungeons and the Dragons as
I was
its
just
core
going to
rule set.
interject and say, you know, earlier when I said there was many of the things that you're doing on the Sundays that I can't do because of time, this was one of them.
Yeah, that was the thing. Yeah, they pretty much. It was funny. They sort of this group that sort of formed out of a thing we did over on Anino's channel. That was just sort of like, "Hi Jim, we'd like to play D&D on your channel." I'm like, okay. So that's what's coming of it, and I'm very excited to get into it. We've been doing a lot of setup with where there will be art, there will be other things going on, and it's going to be really cool. So very much looking forward to that. On Mondays, I am over on Tales from the Grim in the evenings, late evenings, running Deadlands. Still got a little bit of ways to go on that one. And finally, Wednesday, back around to Wednesday, when we shall have our first official issue of the Doctropolis comic. And I am very excited to dig into that.
Can we call session 0 the preview issue?
Yes.
We totally can.
Yes.
It's the digital
Issue
Ascan.
0.
It's the
Issue
digital
number 0.
Ascan.
Absolutely. We do have sign-ups right now going for the short campaign of Apocalypse World that's going to be happening next month. That's going to be on Tuesday nights. I actually, since we've got more shows now coming up this year, then I've slotted the mini campaigns to Tuesday nights for now. And so that's sign-ups are open through Wednesday the 29th, so a week from tonight. You've got a week to sign up if you want to get considered for that. And very shortly, I'm going to start putting in sign-ups again for the one-shot starting next month, which will begin with Fall of Magic. So look for that shortly. As always, you can just go down and click on RPG sign up, or go to jimyesthatjim.com and click on Game Sign Up. As always, beginners are welcome. So when we hit the end card, I am going to send a raid over to Welcome to the Party. If you would like to see Clyde Ho in person, he's playing on the other channel. The Chief of Police Clyde Ho, Anino, is playing that game. It's a D&D 5e campaign.
I'm pretty sure I mentioned the idea to Anino and he was cool with it. I'm pretty sure.
But if you folks would like to, we're going to go over there and say hi. Feel free to hang on and say hi to them with us if you so desire. That, again, will be when we hit the end card. In the meantime, folks, thank you all very much for watching. Take care, and we will see you next week. Farewell.